pretty close. It's
Hmm.
actually might even end in green. Wow, interesting. What's the 1 hour look like? So the only time frame that's like that is the 15 and a 12.
On the
Hmm.
30-minute, the last half an hour that closed was a bearish engulfing, and then this current one that's about to close is such a small body, like dicking around, like not showing, but it's good. It's bearish, so I would love to see if we could have this next leg down to close that fair value gap. Because we're if this closes here at the New York lunch inside of it, that's an indication of direction, intention.
Hmm. Hmm.
Sometimes if we hit those gaps and there's a strong bounce, that's a good sign for the counter of it, of that gap holding. But it's not necessarily doing that here. We're with you, vodka.
Yeah, it doesn't give you a lot of confidence. Indecisive candle, really. If you look at it on the 30-minute, that just looks like an indecisive candle.
Right, such a small body,
Hmm.
but didn't really have a strong bullish push when it sunk into that level. So, like sometimes we tap these fair value gaps and it's just a wick and it pops out of it, and that is not what happened here. So that gives me more bearish vibes for filling it.
Hmm.
But we've seen counter trend moves, so you just gotta always watch the risk on. Oh, the Goonies. That was quite a movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Can I get an 8:30 for the boys?
Let's go.
All right. See if we can get that 8:30 for you, bro.
Drop it like it's
And we'll
hot.
drop it like it's hot for New York lunch. That's right, Coach Becky. I already have my tacos. I already had my breakfast. So while Michael's chatting, I gotta throw down some tacos. So we're not fasting today.
Good.
I'm not hangry.
Nutrition
General,
is important.
yeah, definitely. I don't always eat. I have a terrible diet. So
Well, you get sucked into work. I get that vibe out of you.
yeah. I'm a horrible workaholic. I am a terrible workaholic. That is my Achilles. Is I yeah.
Yeah.
But
Here we go.
I've
No.
never done anything as much as I enjoy trading, and helping our community and, now being part of Blue Sky. So, it never feels like work. It just feels like, I'm just doing stuff with, my friends and stuff. And that makes it a very different experience for me.
Right. I agree. Like to endure the hard days in trading, you have to have like a real passion for it. You have to fall in love with a lot of aspects of it in order to endure the parts that are less pleasant. I think that's a real factor in the traders that make it.
Definitely. And, I don't own this thing. I don't own Blue Sky. So it means that I don't have to have that responsibility. I don't have to have that hat and be always worried about the business's operation. So I get to really do what I enjoy, and being creative and, vibing with the community and helping folks. So, that it's more rewarding than anything I've ever done before, for that mere fact. Because, obviously before, as an employer, it's always nice to provide for your employees and, be able to provide them, you know good work opportunities and good pay for them to thrive. But this is different, because this is not me doing the same thing. It's not me just paying someone, it's teaching someone, or guiding them. And I think that's just so awesome. I never thought I'd be at this point you know
Yeah, it's a great opportunity. I agree. Well said.
We all do, General. I mean, especially me. General's my trade buddy. He knows I've had some days I've been complaining. I was complaining this morning too. I had a trade that could have went what 200%, and due to mismanagement, I ended up taking 100% out of it. Yeah, it was like 100%. I doubled my money on the trade, but I could have like tripled it, and that's just part of trading. At
Yeah.
the end of the day, I stayed in my trade as long as I possibly could. It took my stop out at where 100% was. And man, as much as I hate to say it, that's it. It's done. You know, and
Yeah.
the ride is over. I got kicked out. I wasn't cute enough to stay in the cab ride,
Better luck next time, friend. Oh.
No, Ace. I wasn't paper handing it because I was no handing it. I was diamond handing it. But my rules mean that, you know, there has to be a stop, you know? Unfortunately, I don't have an endless money pit of money that I can dig into and keep dropping in my account. So the only thing I have that saves me from that is my rules.
Important.
We bouncing back. I don't know, man. I honestly, I'm eyeing more downside. You know me, I prefer an upside move right now. Like if you're looking at the Russell, I'd say you got another like 4 or 5 points to drop. I'm looking at like IWM puts at like the 250 puts. They were at like 16. They're at 66 cents right now. They got open interest of 9,000. The SPY, we look at the SPY, we're seeing the same thing across the board. All the big indices have a whole lot of retail and investment lean to the downside. So I find that hard to believe. I think we're going to tilt further down and probably towards the latter half of the day, hopefully catch a relief bounce. Oh my God, I was over talking Coach Becky. I'm sorry, Coach Becky.
No, please. I love exactly what you said, and I that's how I read it too. I think we got a little more push below us. I see the Bears are still in control, so I love what you just said. And my toddler is banging on the door, so I got to go get him situated. But I'll be back in just 2 hours, and I'll hang with last 2 hours of market today. So I'm excited to be back.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Coach Becky. Good luck with those kiddos.
Thanks. See you later.
Have a great day. Team Vodka. It's the PSD. PTSD. Hey, I'm what is it? TMT. I'm Team TMT. That's the money team, you know? Because you got to be TBE, the best ever. Smirnoff or Kettle? You know what? I'll say Kettle One. Kettle One is superior. Vodka, my trade buddy for years. He's the ultimate paper hander. Ace, you're back with that, dude. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You know, I yeah, man. It doesn't mean that we can't make money at the end of the day still either, man. We're just waiting for that next great trade. You know, the market's a little slow. Doesn't look like there's much interest in continuing the downside push. This new 1 hour candle is not giving us much of a move. I know a lot of traders that like to trade this 1 hour candle, but it doesn't seem to be the one that's going to give us it. We're going to get a banger today. Wasn't easy mode. You know, I think the morning session was fair. Well, you know what? I somewhat agree with you on that because if we take a look at the morning session, what really happened? We got the open. You got that strong push up, so it might have faked you out when it created that orb high. What I was looking for, and the way I traded this, I'll tell you exactly what I traded, how I traded this. I took my trade around this time, 9 a.m. Let me double check what time I entered into my trade. Yes. So I entered in at 8:45 a.m. So right around this point, when we came in and we tested the 200, this is when I went long. I waited for this exact long right here. When we tested this, I wasn't listening to Mike. I was just solo trading. This is the area that I started loading the boat. I loaded the boat here and I missed this. I missed this trade. I missed this exit, and then in the process, I was hoping that I would catch it on a retest. So this is what I was actually looking for. So I got caught up in the middle of this right in here, because this is where my stop was right here. That's where my stop was. So that was exactly what happened to me. See, I thought I was well enough below the 26 EMA, because you know me, I love trading the 26. But this is exactly how I took it, and this is where I got stopped out. And the unfortunate fact was is that when we got that next leg up, I would have gotten juiced up a little over $1.20. I think the implied volatility really cranked on it this time, because I think buyers were chasing it, and I could have maximized my profit on that, but unfortunately I didn't. I got stopped out. But you know what? That's just the game, though. You just don't know. Some days it won't even do this. Some days this won't even exist right here. It'll just hang right here, and it'll be like bing. You just don't know. But at the end of the day, you got to take profit. You got to take profit. Need a strong trend day. Well, you know what? You just can't tell at the very beginning. You have so much volatility in the morning session. It's hard to really know whether or not the momentum is going to be there. And if you notice, I mean, it didn't last there long. We were there for minutes, not very long at all. I mean, look, I'm on the 15 second. Look at that. You were there for less than a minute. You hung in this level for literally less than a minute. So it makes it very impossible to adequately maximize it unless you got your finger on the trigger, or you had that take profit. Whereas me, I don't want to go for a take profit because I want to see if it'll fly. So that just goes to show, but also why my risk management kicked in, because you know what? I would have never saw that profit again. I would be in the red, and I now would be sitting with hopium with an overpriced contract. Because right now those calls right now are sitting at like 18, 16 cents, 16 cents and I bought them for 39 cents a contract. So it just goes to show you, you got to be really careful. And sometimes it's not best to hold it. Sometimes you got to just cut those profits. More often than not, if you keep holding, you're going to run out of money because you're going to take losses and you'll never make up for your losses. Need a strong trend day. 9 a.m. liquidity overrules. Today we wanted to fade institutions, wait till initial balance. It's all retail after the rebalancers from the overnight. Yeah, we got a lot of retail traders trading the news. We had CPI came out today as well. Don't forget about that. We had some numbers that dropped out. Let me see. Where's mine? Yes. So first big numbers came out. February hit the wire at 8:30 a.m. Came in right at 0.3%, exactly what the street expected. And we saw a relief rally in tech because there wasn't a nasty surprise. But don't get complacent. Core CPI is holding at 2.5% year over year. With what's happening in the energy sector, those March numbers are already looking spicy. We also had crude oil. We had a bunch of news on crude oil. We've got other countries in talks about releasing their oil reserves, which is really funny because we were expecting that you would expect that news from that would indicate that the oil prices are going to lower, right? It's going to give you some relief in that sector. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be the case, And also, we know that that relief is not going to come very quickly. That could take months, It could take a few weeks to a few months for that to fully, come to fruition. And what that will look like and how much and how that will affect the overall global supply of oil. Again, uncharted territory, instability, and also brings fear to the market, so driving up oil prices, and in turn we saw the market reverse on that news. So that was what I saw. When we were up there, that's when that news started dropping about crude oil, and then the channel of the Straits of Hormuz, and also the mines being put in there. So all of those kind of different puzzle pieces give you a very different narrative of kind of what's happening in the market. I do think that, yeah, I think we see retail in here fighting this, correct, Ace? You know, you got you got a whole lot of different ideas in the market. Probably it looks like from the options chain that the general consensus is to the downside, though. I still see a lot of the market leaning towards that downside. NASDAQ tried to hold a 25K level. Oracle was doing fairly well in the overnight session, but is giving up most of that. Some of that move now. So we actually got a rip up in the morning, and then we were kind of balancing out. Here, not quite the overnight or yesterday's previous, but kind of like the chop area of the overnight session here. So that might be giving some confidence in that sector. But if you look at the heat map's red. The heat map is fairly red. So, be it as it may, for me, I think we'll see a little bit more downside. Let's take a look at the Russell, see if we can see some clarity here. Russell's pretty down as well. Looks like we got a little mini W forming here on the 15-second. You've got the 200 sitting at 25,530. Got buyers seems to be taking control of this at 25,528. Well, you also have a supply zone at 25, 26. We'll see if we can get those. If not, this might just be accumulating more bulls to stop them out so that it can continue downside. Remember, team, we are in New York lunch, so we don't have a lot of institutional traders here. So it's really retail traders and what they can do with the market. It can give us some pretty interesting moves, but we'll see. Bears failed me again. I know, man. The Bears have failed me, numerous times. Worthless. They got great ideas, just bad plans. All right, let's take a look at, since we're looking at some of the other indices, let's look at Nvidia, see what it's doing here. Nvidia was also popping on news of a $2 billion investment in Nebius. That's Nebius. So, see, it's going to be pretty interesting to see, if that's going to help them even further, have another customer. I'm not really sure what company or what that company does. I'll have to do some further research on that. Going back to the Russell, though, small caps have been lagging, now selling. I'm sure that, this oil news and oil prices going back up is also heavily affecting the small caps. So, we're seeing that in a pretty easy trend to the downside here. Just been riding under the 9 EMA all morning, since that news broke. Just dumped. Broke VWAP, retested it, continue to further sell. Now looks like we're kind of creating what appears to be a base here. We'll see if we can hold this for another 15 minutes or so. We've got about 13 minutes left to the close of London. Is looking fairly bearish, though. What's up, DK? Good to see you, brother. Oh, man. Okay, we got some spam in the chat. Let me take care of that. You're still holding your short from 005? Nice. Congrats on that. Let's go back to NAS. I'm missing my trade here. I wanted to take that short. I should have taken it at the Friday gap. That would have been a nice one right there. Look at that, to a T. We just wicked it and then just rejected it. I hope the labels are helping you guys so y'all know. I blame Riz that he didn't help. Man, I don't got that kind of ammunition. I'm just a little fish in a big sea, broski. I wish I had that kind of fire. Man, I'd be giving you guys the moves. I'd be like, all right, I'm buying like 10,000 shares. Go long. I would just cook the market. What I am interested to see is during the summer how the market is going to change, because we're going to see some differences in the overnight session because we're going to have overnight contracts or options. The options chain is going to open up on the overnight. So we're going to have, retail traders that, day trade options now in the after hours session. What I'd really like to see is that more brokers get on board with lowering the margin fees for some of the mini micros, like Bitcoin and stuff like that. Lower those prices, make it more affordable for retail investors. Don't keep us out of the party. We want to dine at the kids table. We're in the restaurant. Let us out. I'm cool sitting at the kids table. It's cheaper. And you get a free toy with it. I don't think they'll do it though. But, they're changing PDT rules and overnight session. I think it'll be pretty cool. And there you go. Don't you put that evil on me. What's up, Big Fisherman? How's your short doing? I'm being a little bit patient. I let my algos run for me in the overnight, and they did not do me good. Fighting it for now. We just got to stay disciplined. We're going to watch our sizing and risk management. So... let's update this. How are things looking? I gotta start investing in some crypto instead of gambling with it. The crypto space is far from in a good position right now. There's a lot of retail traders that are very upset. They paid for a lot of broken promises right now, and that's the cruel reality of what's going on with the crypto sector right now. They were promised a lot of things and they're not receiving anything. The unfortunate fact as well is that if anything, it appears that in the current state with the government that's in place this term, it's actually done more harm to crypto than anything. Crypto is more down and has sustained more blows in this administration than the prior. So it almost seems like Gary Genslinger was actually doing them a better service by keeping them on the opposite side. It's really a interesting situation, because the lobbyists for crypto paid billions of dollars. They've poured tons of money into it and they've got nothing. If anything, Bitcoin is horribly down, for the year, and I find it very difficult for it to go anywhere. You've got that guy from Ethereum. I can't pronounce his name, but you guys know the guy that made Ethereum. You got that guy basically on X stating the fact if crypto is only going to be used for gambling, it'll never have its place. Which I don't think that's necessarily true. I think there's a lot of people that are using it for transactions. You got a lot of companies that are accepting it for payment. But it becomes one of those things that, how long till it's replaced with something else that, does what we were hoping that would do. Or let me rephrase that. How long till it's replaced with something else that isn't what we originally wanted, but the underlying still takes care of what we needed, which is fast money transfers, cheap fees for moving money anywhere around the world instantly. I think we'll get that, but I think unfortunately the coins that'll come out will probably be state sponsored coins. It might even become one of those that they start, banning some coins. I saw some interesting things in the news. is that the governments are now querying the exchanges, and they want backdated logs of where all the coins, all the coin transactions, the blockchain transactions of where the coins came from, where they went to. They want to start mapping that out, which I would assume that would be is to track down who owns the coins. Did Coach Riz have $1 million in coins last year and didn't report taxes on it? That's the only thing I could think of would be coming with that, or regulation, or how they're going to regulate it going forward. I mean, we know that the U.S. is going to have its own coin at some point. Most of the major countries will. I think what was it, Ireland or something? It is. It is. It is terrible right now. The chop just tested that Friday gap high side again. Might be like this for a minute. We sold off pretty aggressively. Tested that London low. So, it really depends on what retail wants to do at this point. I'm not listening to the news at this point right now. Let me turn it on. I turned my news off because, sitting with Mike and Coach Becky makes it kind of difficult to hear. Then, another group of people talking in my ear and on top of Mike and Becky. But now I can turn that on. Yeah, I'm sure the ATR is probably low right now as well. So yeah, nothing that wouldn't surprise me at this time of day. Yeah, man, it says the trend is chop. Definitely don't want to be trading this. Are you still in those plays? The 3 minute looks like like it's in a triangle right now. I mean, it could be like a little bear flag also. You got the bear flag right here. So you could do it like this. That would be my idea on it. Probably just dance around in there until price figures it out, till the bulls either win or they give up, because the bears won't stop hammering at it. The bears are there. The market is tilted in their favor already. So when you're like this, you have to understand that the bears are in control. So you need the bulls to really take it and send it to that next level, which is the top of that flag. So you need to be above 24,948. So like if you're in a lower time frame, you would just be selling into that just to make sure that, you know, if it does go, you're going to be on the right side of it, unless you're bullish on this going back up. But really, I'm not hearing any type of positive, catalyst to give us that, other than, you know, just a little bit of relief, shorts covering. But I think it's too early in the session for that. We're at the top of that flag now. Let's get in. Okay, we're above it now. Oh, okay. It's like the algo just put me long right now. Oh God, this thing has kicked my butt all day long. I'm not gonna lie. I have gotten my butt handed to me by Fromunda. You know, I call this thing that, and I swear to God, the name fits it because it's terrible. You know, the statistics on it were really, really good, but all of a sudden, like the day I decided to take it, terrible. It has just, man, I don't know. Do not know. Oh, my refund, that's for sure. What's up, General? How you doing, bro? You still in that trade? You still holding on to that thing? You still got what? What was it you were looking at? 55s, right? You're in the 55s. Damn, they're at 9 cents right now. Yeesh. You know, truth be told, I got caught up doing some other stuff, but I was actually looking at the 250 puts. After I got stopped out, they got to like 16 cents, bro. They got to 16 cents, and then they ripped all the way to 78 cents. Sheesh, they're like 38 cents right now. Oh, look at that, man. All right, let's go. Rip it. Let's go. Yeah, no, I remember you're in the 255s. Okay, so we're hearing more news about mines in the Straits. Okay, so basically, we have Trump stating there are no mines in the Straits that he's aware of, and we have some maritime organizations that are also confirming that they're not aware of any mines. I mean, they're just saying that they're not aware that there are any mines in the water. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's confirmed. You know, that just means that the last time that however they were able to tell whether or not there were mines in that water, you know, which is either by sonar or like some kind of, you know, underwater drone or, you know, sub, then, you know, at this point they're just going off old data. You know, they don't know if guys are out there. I don't even know how they do that, you know. I mean, are they just dropping them in? Does it have to be I don't even know how mines would even be put in the water. It's outside my that's out I don't know that stuff. Damn, you're in 40 of those? Jesus, General. Sweet baby Jesus. Go big or go home. All right, sir. Good luck to you, my friend. Sheesh. 40 of those. You're crazy, General. But you know what the good thing about that is? Is that, with that many contracts, you get 2 points, and that's a ton of money. You know that? It's early in the day if we get that rebound. I hope you're not risking profit for that. Dang, those things got down to 6 cents. Oof. I hadn't realized that. I mean, right now it seems kind of good. What you could do is you could get out at like if you can get to 14 cents, maybe you can get out at 14 cents. You know, and then cut like I don't know, like 38 of them or some BS. Oh hell no, this thing's gonna pull back. No, don't pull back. Oh, this is not fair at all. Oh, there's the pullback. So I just got a warning right here on my chart stating you guys can see it. You guys can see my little indicator right here on the lower left hand side just says that I got a signal. And that just goes to show you guys, why I recommend, learning those indicators, because then you know what to expect when those indicators fire off. You may not necessarily take the trade off of it, but if you're in a trade, you can start kind of managing your position and kind of, understanding, what to expect that price might do. Oh, okay, good, good, good. All right, good. I just want to make sure you're not risking more. And there we go. Pushing 25K on here on the NASDAQ, ladies and gentlemen. 37 minutes into New York lunch. What an incredible push. Will we get another nice push like this through? Could we try to take out that 25.30? Still holding 25.002. Bull's still in control. All right, there's three. Can we get 3.25? 350. There's six. There's six. Now we're up. Can they get us to 650 now? Let's see if we can get that next leg up. Come on, Bulls. Push it. All right, there's 6.25. We just got it right now. A little bit of a rejection. Still holding the 9 right there. Looking good for that upside push. Let's see if we can get 25.14. Let's see if we can get up there now. That'd be my next target to the upside. Mm. There's that pullback. Now, how far will it go, and when will the Bulls step in and take it? Now we're under the 26. So that should offer the entry if you're not long yet. Otherwise, it can pull all the way back to 24,942. That's the only bad thing about this. Oh, and there it goes. Damn Lambo. Oh man. So we got a banker level that fired off. So basically bankers, pretty large sell order block. It can be either or. It can be a sell or a buy order block. That's just what I've noticed in the past. It can go either way for you. Sometimes it can be a big old buy order, and you just get this crazy push on it. That's why I called it Lambo, because it's just like a rapid kind of trade. You know, it'll go one way or the other fairly quickly. It's just hard to tell which way it'll ever go on you. But I usually notice that if you're at the bottom of the trend and it fires off, you'll get a you'll get a bounce. If you're at the top of the trend and it fires off, usually that's resistance. So you'll get the selling pressure come in. And then, like I said, it's just a matter of knowing how far, how far is the retracement going to be on that candle. That's really funny. I got a friend of mine that he inversed my signal. So he trades off my signal, but his are all his is actually backwards off mine. So he takes the short while mine takes the long. But I don't take the long. I just record it. All right, there's 24,982 now. You can get us back to 25K. All right, we're back over the EMAs again. Look at that. Nice. Beautiful. DK, going back to your question about crypto, if anything I would look at, I have a lot of interest in XRP. I think XRP has a great use case because, of all the crypto coins, it's the one that's already embedded in the banking system. So I think if anybody has a chance at doing anything in the crypto space, it is XRP. I think Bitcoin will always be kind of like that back end. It'll be the gold standard of crypto. But I think that, yeah, I don't think a lot of the other coins will make it unless they can do something. At some point, people will wise up and realize that all these other meme coins are just they're just noise. I saw this interesting article that was talking about traders about crypto, and they were talking about what the next big thing in crypto was, and they were saying that the next thing was the scam coins, basically. Launch coins. Anything that you could launch, that you could pump at the very beginning and then getting out at the very beginning. Like pump and dumps in the crypto space. And I was just like, oh my god, they're gonna make this go from worse to worse now, doing that kind of stuff. I got the Russell at a buy the reversal spot right now. Let's see where NASDAQ is. Sorry guys, I didn't get much sleep last night, so I'm kind of worn out. I didn't go to sleep till like 5 a.m. I was working on some numbers and working on some strats and trying to trade the overnight. So yeah, we're pretty far on NASDAQ. So, but IWM and the Russell fairly closer to by the reversal. I'm hearing some news about oil, mainly Trump comments. They're trying to, but man, almost rebounded from that sell. Again, some volume in now. A lot of yeah, Trump is still talking. There's a bunch of stuff coming out. He wants to cut off Spain. So there's a lot of conflicting news right now. So definitely traders, if you guys are in a position, make sure you got your stops. Oh man, come on. Whew. Well, it looks like one of my other algos just took a buy, so we're on a long on MNQ and a long on MES. Let's see. Sheesh, I don't even want to look at it. Yep, there's our two MES. There's our two MNQ cons. All right, well, vaya con Dios. 25K is going to be a tough one to break. You're definitely right, sir. And it looks like we're making an M right here. Making like a little M. I don't want it to complete it. Otherwise, we're going to get below. We're going to get down to that 200. They're at 24,944. Well, they're trying. Come on, Bulls. Take this thing. You throw it on Renko's. Let's go. Let's get it up and go. Let's get up to that upside. Got 14 minutes till the end of New York lunch, ladies and gentlemen. So, don't forget, get up, get a cup of water, fresh coffee. I got ice water right now here at my desk. As a matter of fact, I need to top it off because I already killed one cup. We got a lot of trading day left. We've got Coach Becky on later on this afternoon. She'll be on an hour early for Power Hour, before Power Hour, followed with Coach Matt. So don't forget about our great coaches hanging with us later on in the afternoon session. Also, Coach BluSky and Breezy. That's Coach Breezy at 6 p.m. Eastern and Coach BluSky on at 7 p.m. So for you pajama traders and traders that love to trade the Asia like I do, hope to see you all there. I popped in last night. BluSky was killing it. I missed Breezy. What was that? I just got a message. Was that you? Getting aggressive now. Sellers are still trying to take this thing. Still holding. Still holding. Oh yeah, they won't let it go. I'm telling you, General. We're battling it. We got 10 minutes left till the end of New York lunch. So let's just see what happens. We're just chilling in these two trades. Let me check my MES trade and let's see how that's doing. Okay, up 25 bucks in those $27 in those two cons. So let's see if these guys can make up for their deficiencies from this morning cuz they put man, I don't know, man. They really did it to my account. I'm not happy. I'm mad. Ugh. Can't believe it. Why? It's like, why would you do that? Get it, General. I was actually debating on picking those up. They dropped down to 8 cents, almost 6 cents. I was gonna scoop some up there. I don't know about going in with like 40 though. Yeah, I don't know about 40. I don't know about 40. That's more than I like to buy. Mm. You averaged in. No, no, I know you were averaging in. That's why you're closer. I'm sure you probably paid like maybe like 20 cents for them originally, right? Like 20, 25 cents. Ooh, man, you bought them for what I paid for my 254s. Sheesh. That's right. You were chasing after though. Come on, give General his refund. Make him some money. Here we go. Bears trying to stuff us back down, holding us down at 24,991, 992. Bull stepping back in, carrying us over to 993. Need to get at 24,998. That'll at least get us to where we're starting to inch towards that 25K. We're right at the top of this resistance from the prior, what is that, 5 minute candle? Come on, get over it. Yeah, the Qs are flat on the day. See the overall market. Let's take a quick gander since we got a few minutes. Let's see. NQ is sitting at 24,989. Almost flat for the day. Green 0.002%. ES at 6,774.50, down 0.18% for the day. The Dow sitting at 47,393, down 0.74% for the day. Gold 5,180.50, negative 1.18% for the day. Followed by silver at 85.55, down 4.52% for the day. Crude oil at 87.60, positive 4.96 for the midday session. And last but not least, we got the Russell sitting at $2,538.40. It is down 0.48% for the day. So, You know, the only thing that's really like not doing hot would be gold right now. Gold and silver. Silver more so than gold. You know, between 1% and 4% down on precious metals. You know, if you're looking for a horse in the race, that would be crude oil. You know, it seems to be moving fairly, fairly liquid for the day. You see what I did there? When I got out of my. Yeah, I was a little surprised you went chasing for it the way you did. To be honest with you, General, I was actually pretty surprised you went chasing it. Like TLC says, don't go chasing waterfalls. All right, we're back at 24,993, getting us under the nine. Sellers back in control. Can they bring us under the 26 though? Can they get that 24,990? You might have that retail trader taking profit from the upside grind, so that might be some of this as well. You know, some guys are starting to cover, so longs might be covering here at this range. So just be careful. I don't have any sell signals though on the NAS right now, so hopefully for general and for those of you that are long, just like I am, because I'm long, general. Don't get me wrong, I'm long. Yeah, we were seeing upside. I just got stopped out. I couldn't re-enter it. I just wouldn't re-enter it once I got stopped out. Unless I was gonna get back in my existing trade, that would be the only instance I would buy it at a cheaper price just to get into it. Like now, I would probably. That's why I was considering getting into your calls because I was like, this is a decent spot. We made an upside move. Can we keep the continuation coming out of New York launch? Bulls are kind of moving the market. As long as retail and institutional investor stays out and don't stuff us, we should get an organic grind to the upside. Shorts will cover. They'll allow the market to just slowly ascend back to, back up. And there's 25K, 25 triple zeros, ladies and gentlemen. 2 minutes before the top of the hour. Let's go. Now 25, 150. Oh, with the rejection, Bear stepping back in, trying to get us under the nine. Can we hold the 25K though? I think we can. I think we can. I think the Bulls are here. Come on, let's send it for general. Cons are back to even. Up, they're down again. Man, those 250s are 22 cents now. Just saying. No, I know you need a couple of Hulk candles. I think you're gonna get it right now. Oh, there goes the Russell. And there goes NQ pushing 25. 009, 008. That's 950. There's 1050. All right, can we get to that 2515? That was my next level I'd like to see us get above. If we can tap that and get out. You got VWAP there as well. Can we hold it? No, General's contracts are up a penny. Let's go, General. Yeah, I put a sell order there, man. You should put a sell order and peel some out at like the 14 or something instead of trailing it. Got 15 seconds till the top of the hour and the conclusion of New York lunch. We didn't even tell our friends in across the pond, good night. We didn't even talk about the London close. We were so busy with, the price action that was occurring for us. All right. Good luck to you, General. I hope you get that push I thought we were gonna get that push right here. I didn't think it was gonna be like it is right now on IWN. And Q's still pushing though. Let's go. Let's go. Push it. Oh, there it is. There's that pop. Oh, 25, 23. Congrats to you, General, on that. I hope you took profit on that. Oh, wait. No, that didn't move up enough for you. They barely hit 11 cents, those dang cons. It's because you're so far out the money. Your delta is 0.09 on those. So it means that you're not going to get that. You're not going to get that juice right away. You need to get closer to the strike. Exactly, man. They took my money too, General. You let me know where they are. You let me know. We'll team up and we'll go kick their ass. How about that? I'm with you on that. Yeah, I see it didn't go. I'm actually looking at your contracts on my chart right now. I'm looking at your specific contract right now. Here, I'll drop it in the chart in the chat so you can kind of see what I'm looking at. That's what I'm seeing right there. I mean, it doesn't make a difference right now because it hasn't moved or anything. You need it to move before it, you could really do anything with it. But on one of my charts, I'm actually looking at your specific expiration. Look at that. We just rejected under VWAP here on the 15. We need to get over that mark. That was specifically why I was looking for that 15 because you got VWAP right there on the 15 second. Like I always say, the lowest time frames lead up to the biggest time frames. So if you want that mean reversion, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the market to turn from the sell side to the upside. Because technically, right now we're even though we've pulled up, we're still in a sellish cycle. So you got to break that. IWN is rejecting off yesterday's lows. You still got buyers. There's still buyers here interested in it. I don't think it's over yet, broski. We could be wrong though. You know. I mean, at least your contracts are holding value. Look, they have not depreciated in value. You're holding the 10 cents. So, even though you're, three strikes outside out the money, you're holding value in them fairly well. Your open interest is still high. You got about 2,300, 2,400. I'm sorry. And those 250, those 250s are 18 cents now. I think we're gonna go though. Look at the way the Nas is. We're back at VWAP again. Back over it. Let's go. There's 17 now. Can we get that 220? Come on. Come on, give us that 220. That's just gonna open up 30 for us. Come on, get us that or below. Beautiful. We're gonna test the morning or below. If you guys aren't tracking that, definitely, those give you some areas of interest that the market can, magnet towards. So the 15-minute opening range candle bottom wick is at 25.30. So let's see if we can get a candle up there. Oh, wait a minute. What's happening? Okay. I was hearing some news, but nothing important though. Nothing that'll affect what we're doing for the time being. Still managing this trade now. Let's go take a look at that MES trade we're in. Hey, all right. $70 right there in that little guy. Well, let's go. Let's hope this thing keeps going. All right, who's long, who's short? I know General's long. You guys know I'm long, ES and MNQ. How about the rest of the folks in the community? Any of y'all long right now? Anybody short? I'm sure Bay Fisherman is probably shorting this right now. Are you still in your short, right, Bay Fisherman? You've been holding a short since what? 80, right? You're short since 80? Oh, whew. All right, we're at the daily open, still at VWAP, still struggling there. We got to hold this level though. We can't let it go. We let this go, and we're gonna go back down to the 200. We don't want to get down there. We do not want to get into 24,982. That's the last place we need to be. Out above 0.005, but yes, we're at a level that could fail big. Yup. Let's take a look at the heat map and see what we got going on there. And there's the picture that we're looking for. Finance struggling, tech. Yeah, the reason the market is like now at a neutral spot is exactly because of this. If you look at the heat map, it's very neutral. There is some red in finance, and that's probably what's holding us. If finance were to go a little bit green, it probably will allow the market to just naturally just kind of, glide to the upside for us. We'd see a slow, ascension of price. But for the time being, that sector is remaining sticky for us. You can see NVIDIA is green. Apple is slightly red, slightly down 0.09, almost flat for the day. So it's not really red. Same for Meta, down 0.02%, so really flat for the day. Google up 0.8% and Microsoft down 0.4%. Also got Netflix down 1.27%, followed by Amazon down 0.63%. So you can kind of see where that Mag 7, you got consumer not durables, also down a little bit. You got that sector kind of weighing us down. Tesla doing well, almost up 2% for the day, but that's just not a lot. That's not enough to carry us right now at this time. Got Exxon and Chevron, some of the energy sector kind of lifting us up here. We're looking at the Russell. No wonder. Let's go take a look at the NAS. Oh my goodness. All right, there we go. You can see the Mag 7. What's really affecting and that's why NAS is moving up itself probably over like the Russell and maybe the S&P, since this is more tech sector driven. The only real lagger you got in here is Amazon and Netflix. You get Netflix or Amazon to catch a bid and you could see something happen. Maybe even Meta. Maybe Meta will say that they're going to buy like 1 million chips from NVIDIA and they'll rock and roll or something. Or maybe Apple. Definitely early in the day, a lot of opportunity. So, don't marry your bias. We're getting that rejection now. I'm seeing. Let's get back over to NQ. Back under the 26 and VWAP. Not looking good. 9 minutes into the top of the hour. Hope you guys enjoyed your lunch. And we might be in for a bumpy ride, ladies and gentlemen, because, the morning session is over. Now we're in the afternoon session. See if Bay Fisherman is can nail this. I don't think he's saying necessarily it's going to continue down. I just think he's pointing out that we're at a kind of an important area here. I agree with him though. You're right at that 25K range. The problem with I see it as this. It's midday. We got 1, 2, 3. We got 3 hours of trading day left. We can't just stay at 25K for the next 3 hours. I mean, we could definitely just consolidate around here and pull our hair out. That's why listening to like Mike and what he says in the morning. You guys start early and you're done early. This time of day becomes very difficult. Look, I'm on the 15 second and there's no real trend other than a slow grind up. So you'd have to have some kind of you'd have to be accustomed to taking a trade off of one of these levels here because there's not much. Most of the guys here will probably tell you they wouldn't take the trader on this time. So, myself included, I don't prefer to trade this time of day. Oof, there he goes. Oh my God, there's a sell kicking in now for the top of the hour. This might be the bottom of the 1 hour candle as well, though, since we were up at the top. Stuff us down, give us that bottom, and reach back up. You've also, like I had pointed out earlier, you got the 200 sitting down at 24,985. So, that could be another area of support we could get to, bounce off of. Maybe catch a little wick below that. I would probably say, probably pull back to 24,974. If it wants to get aggressive, it could go down to 24,967. Obviously, if we get below that, we'll be calling that trade dead. Looks like time to cut. Oof. Yeah, now they're at 6 cents. Oh man, they really just toileted those. I kind of like this though. Those contacts are. This is probably where I would consider maybe loading those up, unless you think that there's more downside. We're bouncing off the 200 though on NQ now, and you can tell that the volume is just evaporated. We're on M and Q as well, so remember there's usually like 2 to 3 times the volume on M and Q versus NQ, just because it's cheaper, lower leverage and stuff like that. Yeah, 200 orders on that chain right there. Oh my god. Oh my god. I don't know, man. The open interest on those 251s is still super high on those 250s. Oh, and there it goes. There it goes. Is it gonna catch that bid? They're trying. They're trying. Come on, don't stop him out. Don't stop him out. Don't stop him out. Muévelo, muévelo. Come on, get us over 25. Oh man, jeez. Oh my god. Testing that 200 again now. Is that 24,987 now? 24,990. Okay, it looks like time to cut. Might be, my friend. Might very well be time to cut. Oof. Still holding. NQ holding, not so much with the Russell. Oh, there goes the Russell. And those contracts are sitting at 5 cents. Very, very tempting to want to pick up a few. You picked up some more. I got a bid for 5 cents on them right now. That's what I'm doing. I'm throwing a bid on them for 5 cents. The algo still got me long. They haven't stopped me out. So, vaya con Dios. I haven't gotten filled though. But that's us saying that we're gonna get high a day again, though. It's the only kind of scary thing about it. Getting a little spready there. See, the spread was like 4 to 7, 5 to 7 cents. Now it's 6 to 7. Still holding. My NQ long is still in. Let's go. Up like $200 almost. Not looking for a higher day, just a pop. Yeah, I went ahead and just canceled my order. Getting a little rejected here. Oh man, now we're gonna sell signal. Don't you dare. There's that 2482 I had mentioned that they could get us down to. Russell looks like it's further selling though. Open door. What's open door doing? Oh, it's got a big old W that just popped on it. Sheesh. Oh, this is looking pretty gross here. You gotta be kidding me. Now you're telling me. It's like, will you pop? Please? How cheap did those cons go? 4 cents. Wow. Oh my god. I tell you, man, that's just crazy. Craziness. Come on, pick this thing up. Do it. Probably see that. Might just see a rip. Bitcoin is just ripped 70K. Yeah, I'm pushing 71,000 right now on Bitcoin. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. You guys be careful because this thing might just fly. Yup. If Bitcoin starts ripping like that, there must be some kind of news. There's some volume stepping in now. If risk on assets start popping like Bitcoin, something is happening. At least that's my idea. Oh. Just tell me about it, bro. It's like, Pop, do it. Yes, you. Well, they didn't cancel my order. They ain't gonna fill me on that. It's too late. Okay, Bitcoin. I don't know where you're going. Looking at the Russell. Still dancing around the 200 here. Still messing around just like the way the NAS is. We need something. We need some kind of fuel for this fire, General. You know, that's the bad thing about it, is that if we don't get any type of news catalyst, buyers will lose interest, They're getting burned. They're getting burned on theta, so they'll dip out. You know that. I know that. The longer we sit in that trade, the less valuable it is. So, it becomes one of those. That's the clock. That's what makes your contracts devalue so quickly. I hope you get your 10. I think you get it though. It looks like it. It feels like it wants to. It's a little bull flag right there. Can we get over though? We need to get back to 25K. We get to 25K and you're solid. I think at least. Man, those 251s now are 39 cents. 250s went to 20 cents. Yeah, and I'm hearing some other analysts say the same thing. We're not seeing any numbers. We're not seeing anything really that's gonna give us like, hey, this is this is what this is where the market needs to go. Blah blah blah. XYZ. You know, man, how many of these contracts? Why? Oh, these are recently. Oh, why are recently? Why? I don't want to see that stuff there. There you go. There's that push up, my friend. You're getting it now. There's no way I can adjust this to where it clears out what I have, what's no longer available. That's crazy. I don't like this. Almost there, General. You are almost there, my friend. Slowly grinding upward. Just need 3 more cents for you. And look at NQ back over 25. Now sitting at 25.00250. Above the 200, above the 9 and the 26. Still got overhead resistance at 25.14 now. So we got VWAP just ahead. 3 to 4 cents is a long way to go on those. Yeah. You're telling me you can get juiced. You can get juiced. You're gonna need one of two things. You're either gonna need a strong push up, or you're gonna need some open interest to cure on them too, where people are start piling in because they realize that that's a good value. I'll be back in a second. I'm gonna get a little bit more water. All right, team. I am back. Oh, let's see what we're doing here. Still fighting, huh? Still at the top of this range. How's everybody else doing in Discord and on the interwebs? You guys doing all right this morning? Everybody being patient, just waiting for the next trade? I'm obviously in a few trades just waiting for them to play out now. Just letting the algos do their thing. Taking the stress out of my trades today, that's for sure. Well, so far, I don't know. We're down. We're not green. We got a good ways to go. But I got some confidence in this. All right, General, you're sitting at 8 cents now. Let's go. Got 2 more cents, my friend. 2 more cents. Oh my God. What are they doing to this thing? It's the bottom of the hour now. And they want to see this thing go down, don't they? They don't want to let this thing go. Need to quit killing me. That is what they were doing. No, I know you were close. I saw it. Still right there. It's not over yet. Just gotta let this thing just, just keep grinding. As long as the sellers don't take control of this, we're all right. They're trying though. Trying my patience too, bro. I'm not gonna lie. All right. Oh, what do we got going on here? General? Still holding. Like I said, it's doing the same to me, bro. I feel the same way. Well, it's terrible, man. It's terrible. It's like, do something already, man. We've been sitting in this trade. Look at that. Can't get us over VU up. It's like I said, if we don't get over VU up, they're going to take it, and then that's it. I'll put some sell stops just to protect this. I'm not gonna let the algos just let a green trade go red on me. Okay, good. Positions are protected. All right, let's see. Can we giddy up and go? Come on, General. Let's see what happens, Hey, we don't know until we try, right, General? That's it, man. We just don't know until we try. And you're still green for the day. Use some house money to chase your next one. Pushes back under the 200 now. Broke 25K to the downside. Now at 25,991. Selling pressure stepping in. Oh, it's gross. Mm. Do we get stopped on the MES? Yeah, we sure did. All right. Let's just go ahead and clear these. Clear them. Yikes. Man, they just took that out. Sheesh. Well, at least we got stopped on and we didn't lose on that trade. That's for darn sure. Could have been a lot better, but it's the way the algos go. Whoosh. That could have been bad. Oh, what a shame. What a shame. Could have been good. Well, we'll just wait for the next great trade, right? Next great trade is around the corner. That is very bad for you. I'm sorry, bro. Okay, only on that one. Good. And then this one. Only in that one too. Good. Yeah, that's terrible. Can't believe that. I should have just closed those out. That was my bad. Iran is trying to attack the West Coast with drones. So I'm hearing reports that they're going to try to send drones to California, I guess. I would assume, right? It looks like they held VWAP. No, we broke VWAP. Broke VWAP to the downside already. We're under it now. Back under Friday's gap. Looks like bears might just take this and send it lower. We got that new low at 24,873. Is that the low of the day right there? We got the new low of the day put in right there. That might have just been a liquidity sweep. Stop some people out. Oh, how crummy would that be, man? That would be pretty sad, right? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh, they took out 250. That's what it is. They sweep the 250. You know that, General? To a T, they sweep that. Remember, like yesterday, I told you that I had that trade. That's almost like the trade I had yesterday, bro. That I was shorting. Remember, you were like, you told me good luck, and it wasn't until like a little late around this time or so, and they swept it low again. Yup. Oh man, yeah. I pay attention. I pay attention. It looks like they're gonna send this down lower though. Let's see. I mean, it's getting bought back up a little, but yeah, now we're still on that low side of that zone now. Again, like I've been saying in the podcast, I hope you guys are catching our Skycast. We're going over the geopolitical situation that's happening around the world right now. It is throwing a real hand grenade into the market. Traders, do not marry your bias. Take those profits as soon as you can. I cannot emphasize that enough. I know it sounds silly. I know we have some folks in here talking about diamond handing, things of that nature, but I definitely encourage you guys to do your due diligence, trade your own trade plan, manage your own risk, and if you got to stop, respect that stop. Don't move those stops because, the profit you see today, you may not see tomorrow. And if you guys are wondering, that podcast is in the chat link below. You guys can drop in and listen to our amazing podcast from all your favorite coaches here at Blue Sky, including Simwa myself. So I am in there. So hope to catch you guys in there. Tell us what you think. Or if you'd like to be a guest speaker, reach out to us. Reach out to us. If you guys want to talk about what has brought you an edge, how you found consistency, how you manage your risk, anything like that, then we want to hear from you. You guys are y'all are the most important part of, and the reason why we're all still here each and every single day. So we'd love to hear some feedback or even just a convo. You want to come on to the podcast and ask us some questions? Then come on the podcast and ask us some questions. Ask the coaching panel. If you've got a roundtable question for us, we'd love to hear it and have you with us. That's each and every single week. DM any of the support staff or open a help ticket and say, hey, I'd like to be on the Blue Sky podcast. Sign me up. And how about this? I'll sweeten the deal up. If anybody wants to join, I will give you guys a little reward for it. So, shh. Better not tell Rich. Don't tell Rich because he'll take it on my check. All right, we're 15 minutes from the top of the hour now. After that leg down, buyers are stepping in to try to pick us back up. They're still sitting above the 90 EMA. We've got the 26 sitting at 24,923. Looks like we're gonna maybe get bought up, maybe make that topside move again. Can we get that repa? Could we get that repa to the upside? Or is this just a pullback for further continuation to the downside? Fake out breakout? What do you think? General doesn't want to hear that. I know he does not want to hear that at all. That is like the worst thing I could be saying right now to him. I know you don't want me to say that, bro, but I'm just calling it what we're seeing on the price action. We got to get above Friday's gap. So you got to get above 942 now. You're at 922, right? EMAs are converging here on the sub time frame. So that is a good thing, but will they truly converge and carry us to flat to 25K? I think so. 25K is still a magnet for us. Man, those jeez Louise. Okay, so the 251s I mentioned earlier are at 78 cents. The 250s are at 44 cents. Just slowly increasing in value. Slowly but surely. Yeah, I feel like I got to roll out on my yoga roll. Back, my spine feels all like compressed. I think is I don't think I got enough sleep. I think that's my biggest problem. I might just take a nap. Oh, I got meetings today. Snap. There ain't no nap for Coach Riz today. We're gonna hit it. Hit it. I'll probably run my other streams early. Call it a day early, go relax. Anybody catch the Spurs game last night? Woo! Go Spurs, go. Sorry, just had to throw that in there. All right, we're testing the top of that Friday gap. Can we get above it for general? Can they give it to the general? All right, we got that candle close above it. Bulls have pushed past the Friday gap to the upside, sitting at 942. Just tap 944. Can we get back up there though? Push us back below the Friday gap now. Bears stepping back in, trying to pull us lower below the 26, the 9 and the 26. There's a struggle here. They're duking it out. Mano a mano. Hey, Coco. Where you going, puppy? Oh, you're not even gonna. Oh. Wow. Look at that. She came in here, wagged her tail, and she burned out. She didn't even tell me. She just like, see ya. I got no food. Her mom must be in the kitchen. That's the only reason she'd be over here. Otherwise, she's over there all like nap time. That dog's always asleep, I swear. Seeing some buying pressure stepping in slowly. I don't know if it's enough to absorb the selling pressure. They're trying. Bulls are trying for this thing. Like they don't want to let it go. I mean, us being below 25K, definitely not good. Not good. But there we go again, testing the Friday gap again. 937, 937.75, 938, back down to 936, back to 937.75, 940, 941, 942, or 75 cents. Oh, we're above it. We're above the Friday gap. We're at 949, 957, with the push back down to 955, back at 959. Holding this level now. Bulls applying pressure to the upside. 961. Got a wick up to 961 with the rejection back to 957, 952. We want to stay above that 94275. That'll act as a support for us to give us that next push up. Mine is on the bed hanging with me. Oh, that's cute. Not mine. Well, I guess if I was over there chilling over there in bed, she'd be with me. That's where my wife is. She's over there with her laptop, all punching away, watching Netflix. Oh, there's that push. 962, 96175, 960. Stuff back down, 958. Oh, sellers, aggressive, rejecting this, not allowing the bears to get that continuation. You got 200 EMA sitting at 24.98.250. Now at 971. Stuff back down to 996. Can they hold this? Back down to 96. Still above the 9 EMA. Bears aggressively push, trying to reject this, not allowing bulls to make momentum. Looks like bulls are loading the boat here at 962, back to 966.50. Holding. All right, they stuffed it back down 963, back to 962.625, 968, 969 now. Still trying to make an attempt for 982. That's our 200 again. We need to get a candle close above that. Bulls now push this 977, 982, 98150. Okay, we're holding. Can we get that candle close above the 200 now? A little bit of a rejection there at 982, back to 970. Trying to hold. Not as much sellers. Still holding, pushing back up 975. Can we get that 982 though? Can buyers take out 92? Buyers are present here. Market is slowly grinding up 992 quarter. 979 stuff back down. 976, 974. There's 76. Can we get A2? Come on, get us back above A2. Got to get that A2. Come on. Got 8 minutes till the top of the hour, ladies and gentlemen. And there's 970. Seller stepping back in. Bulls trying to reclaim 982 with being stuffed down to 966. Back above 97. There's 97 again, 97 and a quarter, back down to 64.75. Want to hold it above the 942.75. That is the Friday gap. So we don't want to get below that. We got to hold above this. Stuck in the middle between the 200 and the Friday gap. What did he is he looking at your trade? He looks all scared. Oh my goodness. It's cute. He's cute. He's like, what, Dad? Oh, Breezy. That's Breezy. I thought that was General. This boy, funniest dog in the world. He's cute. I like him. No, we got a little Shih Tzu. Her name is Coco. Oh man, she is cute. She's a little snuggler. She like loves me. Whoa. You got the Wawa on the hog. Nice. Aw, I'm sorry. We had a little Yoshan. She was half Yorkie, half Bajan. She was our first baby. She was my wife and I's first baby, and she left us like 4 years ago and stuff. And it was so sad, but she was here for all of our kids' births, and yeah, she was the cutest thing. It took me a while to want a dog, and then finally, my wife and my daughter got me to okay. So we had this crazy misadventure, like going and getting the dog. It's actually pretty hilarious. It was like the first year we got our Tesla, and my wife was like hammering at me, oh, I want to get this dog, blah blah blah, and I'm just like, she wore me thin. My trade buddies were like, let her get a dog, and I was like, you know what, get a dog, go get a dog, honey. You want a puppy, go get a puppy. I'm totally fine with it. So, her and my daughter, they're scouring the interwebs. They find this cute little Shih Tzu, but she's down in the valley. So we got to go down to McAllen or like Brownsville or something. It's a pretty far drive for us. So we're driving down there, and I'm trading. I got work going on. So she's driving, right? She's totally driving. She got the range. I told her, you figure it out. I'll go with you and we'll pay for the dog, whatever, but you just figure it out. I'll go. That's my thing. If you want to do it, fine. Figure it out. I'm her ride or die, right? I'm her day one. So I'll go, So we take off. We make it down there. We get the dog. Everything's hunka-dory. But we don't realize one thing is that while she's driving us, she's not using the Tesla's navigation, right? She's using her phone's navigation. So her phone has no idea that we're in an EV. It thinks that we're in a combustion motor, so everything is all planned according to a gasoline car. So lo and behold, like in the middle of our trip back, I mean, we're like 2 hours, 3 hours away from town. the car goes into limp mode, throws up all these signals that we're out of battery. And I'm just like, what's happening? She's like, I don't know what to do. Should we turn around? I'm like, no, stay on the highway, move to the shoulder, and just drive slow. You're going to have to drive at like 25, 30 miles an hour. We need to conserve as much battery as possible. Otherwise, we're going to be toast. You know, we're not going to make it. We're going to have to get a tow. And I don't know how tow's going to work out here in the middle of nowhere. And I don't know how the gas station was like, oh, it was like 10, 15 minutes away. So it must have been about maybe 20 miles away, something like that. We get pulled over by like DPS. Oh my God. We're all in the car. We're all like just with the dog, the kids. We got the windows down. We're driving like 25 miles an hour. The cop pulls up. I'm on the passenger side. And he, you know, I'm like, oh my God, we're not gonna make it. We're so close to the exit now. Like we can see the gas station that we need to get to, where there's a charging station in the horizon now. So it's like, you know, it's the next exit, and we're there. And the cop is like, "Is everything all right?" You know, and we're like running out of battery. We don't have much battery, so we're trying to get to the charging station. He just is like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'll let you guys go. Good luck." Backed right off, and he was just like, "See ya." The biggest problem was is that we didn't use the navigation in the car. If you use the navigation in the car, it does all that calculation for you. It'll throw you off the route and it'll tell you you're not going to make it. You need to stop here to get this charge. And you might have to take a little bit of, you know, detours. But at the end of the day, the experience is more enjoyable in my opinion. So like we took the same route like later in the summer to go to South Padre because it's on its way to South Padre. So it is down by Brownsville. I drove this time, right? So this time I drove, punched the whole route in. Man, we went to this Mediterranean restaurant for lunch while the car was charging, you know. Man, it was delicious. We had an amazing lunch and we just kept on the way. And then we got to the hotel, and the next hotel over had free charging stations. So as soon as we checked in and everything, I pulled the car around, went over there, parked the car, charged it. So basically charged for free on the island and didn't pay for most of the way back. I mean, taking a family of five down to the coast, you know, which is like a 5-hour drive each way, cost me $22 round trip. See, I can't beat that. See, I can't beat that. There's no way I could do it. Like, I had my Cayenne, you know, if I took my Cayenne down there, that trip's going to cost me like $300, $400 in the Cayenne. Hey, Coach Becky, and welcome to the top of the hour team. Yeah, so you know, using a combustion car, it's going to cost you so much more to take that type of trip. You know, plus your maintenance. You'd be surprised, man. I think they're great. We don't have any more gasoline cars. Even my son, I got him an EV. He's got an EV Beamer.
What's up, guys?
What's up, Coach Becky?
Hi. I know you're looking for the longs, General. Looks like it retested the lows and it's trying, huh?
He's stuck.
Yeah. It just poked below with that aggression, what, like half an hour ago? And then now it's doing the same thing, like wonking around. Yeah. The day is tight. Like it didn't have strong aggression. I mean, it definitely has been trending down, but not really aggressively. Like there's been moves in both directions.
I mean, the bad thing is we're flat on the day. You know, indices across the board. You know, you're at between 0.14% to 0.3% down. So barely red.
Yeah.
It's been a difficult afternoon session. I will say that. Great moves in the morning as usual, and a very challenging midday session. Hopefully, the end of day provides something.
Right. Yeah, I mean, some sort of a, a little bit of a push that this last move when I looked at half an hour ago, it was like, okay, are we gonna do this next leg down? But then Bulls defended again.
Yeah, we got that news about California, and that kind of like sent the market a little bit down and spooked it. And then we just kind of started buying it back up. We're still holding Friday's gap, so that's at 24,942. we're stuck between that and the 200, and it looks like they're bringing the 200 in to scoop it up so it can carry it to the upside, though.
Right. And with these anomalies that we talked about earlier, the fair value anomalies that we got Monday from that big news push at the end of the day, a lot of times those will get filled back out. The volume is the market is balancing itself out by filling that low volume. And now we're just seeing a little bit of that. I think dancing around in that area is just like even in and out, we're just doing more like dancing on top of each other, building value in consolidation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's a fantastic point, what you're bringing up about filling the fair value gap, because this is that exact fair value gap that you'd be talking about right here. Here's the
Mhm.
50% mark of it. Let me change that color because it's so hard to see. Let's do blue. Yeah, so there's the top side of it, there's the bottom side of it. Almost completed 50% of it now. Probably left maybe less than 10%, just a few points, shy of 25,000.
Yeah, I think we see that, when we cause these big giant moves, like the market, it goes with time, like it's gentle. It will have a big move, but oftentimes it will take it back and it will bounce back out and trade through that area. And we see that a lot of times. So if you can catch the big move, that's awesome. But then be on the defense of chasing it, because a lot of times we see this retracement right back in to fill it out more thoroughly. Yeah, I'm Breezy. I'm on the bearish side as well today, just because we kept trying to go higher, and we're breaking lows, not highs intraday today, but not real aggressively. So it's just been kind of a slide type of day. Like if you can put a channel on it, then on the 515, then that's giving you some directional energy. Then we're tagging support from the last couple of days too, like that on the NQ, that 24,900.
Hmm.
This has been tested a lot and we haven't really broken it. We've wicked below it, but not really broken it, which does bode for the bulls, trying to hold that area. Yeah, I
Definitely.
also. Hmm.
Oh, there comes that selling again on the Russell. A little bit of volume now. Might get a push down just to make the bottom of the hourly. Maybe.
Yeah. Had
Need the bulls in
the
offense.
the support from the low of day yesterday. I mean, we've been trading below it a couple times today, and right now on ES, especially, I'm looking at, we are back below it again, and we'll see if we can break above it. I have it at 67, 68 and a half. This is a support level, and the low day was what, 67, 65. We're right in there. It was support yesterday, but we've been poking below today.
Hmm.
Gold was kind of bearish today too, it looks like.
Yeah, precious metals have been selling. Silver slightly more red than gold today.
Mm-hmm. There's some bears here on NQ and ES right now.
Yep, I see them pushing, stuffing us back under that Friday gap. Don't know if they can
Mm-hmm.
hold that. I see a lot of buying pressure, like on the Russell and the small caps.
Yeah, it's kind of a dogfight kind of day, give and take, up and
You
down.
know, there's just so much uncertainty in the market. There's nothing really that the market can put a pulse on and say that this is going to be positive news. Everything we hear is just like a band-aid or hopium that, hopefully the war is over. We don't know if there's bombs in the strait. There's no bombs in the strait. Now what? Iran is going to start attacking and sending drones to California's coast, So all that kind of stuff just sets a really negative, narrative for the market, how's the market supposed to respond to any of that?
Right, exactly, because anything could be said, and it's like at this point we're learning that like what is said could just be like a BS scheme to cause some sort of a reaction, and the actual like honest situation behind it is really an unknown. And so I think it's changing the landscape as we're getting more used to like these pops of news while we're a little more judgy now, and it's hard to say what could be the result of them.
Yeah, and that's such an important topic. I said that yesterday during the stream is that, you know, it's so scary the way that things are just so easily said on the news now. Oh, the war is over. Oh, the oil is flowing through the straits. We're providing safe passage. These things are being put out on the interwebs for people to digest and manipulating the markets. Who's not to say that that's not the underlying reason why they're being put out there, that this is being manipulated for institutions. It's not that far-fetched. Now we have to kind of wrestle with that. I hate to be that guy, but I kind of gotta be that guy now. I gotta kind of think of it that way. Is that possible? And now I think it's more important. If any, I've never been big on buying the news and selling or buying the rumor and selling the news, but I'm learning it very much so, and I'm trying to maximize it in this current environment.
Yeah, it's so important to like pay attention to all of that, and always have it in the back of your mind on what to pay attention to and be cautious of, and always protect yourself. Like our capital preservation has to be key, especially knowing that the situation could get more volatile at any point. Always just make sure you're paying close attention, and I would recommend always having a stop in at some point. I mean, you can give your trade room if you so choose, especially if you're trading lower leverage, which is a great idea too, to like not have your stop super tight, because then it could get wicked out. But Mike was talking earlier about having just a oh yeah, Riz, can I take this call really quick? Hold on one second. I'll be right
Yeah,
back.
sure, go right ahead. It must be someone calling Becky to tell her to buy the dip. Where did everybody go? We lost a few listeners. Hope you guys have had a good day with us. I've I've been with you guys for the morning session. I'm gonna hang with Coach Becky a little longer and stuff. I'm gonna take a little break. I'm a little worn. I'm beat. It's been a long trading week for me. By Wednesday, Thursday, I'm cooked. Like I'm charted out. That's the best way I could put it. But by tomorrow, I am charted out, man. I used to really enjoy trading crypto on the weekends, but as of lately, I don't want to, man. I'm like, yeah, no, I don't want to. Like, yeah, I don't feel like trading them today. No. I'm just worn sometimes. The mental gymnastics, the stress. I think it's really the stress. What's up, Mr. Positive? Look at us over here staying positive with Mr. Positive. Hope you're having a great day, my friend. Good to see you. Jose Zanyi. Hey, I came across your stream. Ah, yeah, no. That means if you showed up on my stream, it must be working because people are showing up just like you did. So thank you for confirming that. Oh my goodness. Man, they are going to torpedo this thing. Don't do it to General. Don't do it to my boy General. Oh man, they are about to. Man, I'm glad I got out of my calls. Not gonna lie. I wish I could have. I should have taken profit on a much higher, but it is what it is. Oh man, I know they are, man. They got you. They got. Oh my goodness, this is gross. There's a cell. Oh my god, it's like bye bye. Oh my God. There's that dip. What is crude oil doing? Is tell me crude oil is gonna rip, right? Tell me crude is gonna rip, right? Yeah, yeah. Crude oil's about to ready to rip some faces off. It looks like market trying. We're at that London low now. We still got a lower low. That lower low is sitting at 24,830, 873. So don't you guys forget about that. Let's put a little crying face. We'll put it right here. There we go. Tank it. This low from the daily is super important as well. Big inflection spot. Oh, what? Why? You should not have turned it red. To be honest with you, I might be doing the same thing too. I picked up those 255 calls. I got them for 4 cents. They're sitting at two. They were at 4 cents. I meant to buy two, and I meant to put my sell order, and I guess where I wasn't paying attention, I scooped up two more. You believe that? So I ended up now I got four of them. So now I'm with you in that now, General. We better call the witch doctor and tell her to send it for us. We're gonna have to get the witch doctor and put her on the chart to pray for our trades.
I am back. I'm so sorry about that, guys.
Oh, that's no problem.
My very best friend in the whole world, we were each other's power of attorney and raising our kids together. She had a mastectomy today for breast cancer, and she just got out of surgery, and that was her mom calling me, and it went wonderfully. So, happy little, happy prayers, managed today. Good news.
Definitely great news. Glad. Hopefully, she'll have a speedy recovery.
Yeah, yeah, she's out 45 minutes early, and they said it went just excellent. So, great call.
Fantastic.
Oh yeah, that was the Bears. They went low again, didn't they? Yeah, they just took out. Well, they didn't take out the low of the day yet, but they just still pushing.
Let's put that witch doctor in there praying for our. Come on, witch doctor, give us some magic to send this thing. Come on, give it the mecca lecca high, mecca hiney ho. Come on, send it.
Oh, General, man, this happens, man. This green days turn to red is a real thing. I did that on one of my accounts today. All my accounts were green after my first trade, and then I stopped trading one batch of accounts. My other ones, they went from green to red, and then I stopped. Wah, wah. It's easy to do, man. It's once you keep trading, there's always that risk.
Yup. That's the unfortunate part about trading, is the risk. He's got to
Mm-hmm.
manage that though, you know,
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing about it. General and I have been talking about this a long time, and it's just one of those things, I was the same. I was the same thing because earlier in the session, I had this fantastic trade. I made up for my Oracle loss, ended up green, and I could have chased it, but then it was like I said earlier, I was like, I just have to take what I have, you know. If I go in right now and try to chase it, my risk will be too high. It's going to cost me more now because now there's a handful of things that are happening. I'm trading emotional. I
Mm-hmm.
just got stopped out of my position. So what does that mean? There's implied volatility there. What does implied volatility do to contracts? It increases their value. So now I'm going to pay an overpriced amount for a contract when I shouldn't even be trading because I'm trading emotionally. So like now I can kind of like analyze. I know that now, so it's like no, I'm not gonna. I don't do that anymore. You know, I've gotten burned enough times from that. You know.
Right. Yeah, it's so hard. I do the same thing. Like this morning when I did that on my secondary accounts, I was like so frustrated. And after my third trade, that's the limit for me. Like I just shut down the whole program that I execute on. I'm like, that's enough. I'll let my other accounts be happy, and I'll see what's another day on these ones. Yeah. Oh, careful with
You
that
know.
stop man. Oh man.
The other thing you can do, General, if I might recommend, is this: adjust. Apply your stops according to your leverage. You have to have rules on the trade. If you're stacked in at like, let's just say you're at 60% of your portfolio, 80% of your portfolio that you're using for that trade, which you shouldn't be, but we're not talking about that. But if you are using that large of a chunk of your real American hard-earned dollars, then you should be protecting that money more than anything. The trade that should be more nonchalant and that you can be more risk on is the profit. The profitable trade needs to be the one that has the news. That's why I'm like that. That's why when I'm in profit, I'll trade that more loosely because that's free money. If I end up flat at the end of the day, it's a wash of a day. But if I end up with a ton of money, amazing. But at least I didn't lose to where I have to start back over and be like, well, now I got to make up 2-3 days worth of losses, or one huge day that took out 2 weeks worth of losses. You have to pick the lesser of the two evils. You cannot have your cake and eat it too in the market. I'm sorry. That is not how the market works. You need to learn that underlying fact, because that is a fact that a lot of traders suffer from, is that they think that they can have their cake and eat it too. And it's not like that. I've been doing this just as long as you have, and I don't get my cake and I have to pick one or the other.
I love that point about when you're in a winning trade, that's the opportunity to let it run because it could be a banger or it could come back on you. But that's the expansion that trading can produce. But like letting trades that are going red have too much room to run, that can put you in a serious hole that is so hard to get out of sometimes. It puts you in a much harder like emotional headspace for sure.
Definitely, and that goes back to like why you usually see my stops, you know, depending on the time of day and where I'm at. If I'm not green, if I'm red, I'm trying to capture profits. If I'm deep in if I'm already above my 200 or $250, I start evaluating how much money I'm willing to lose. How far am I away from $200? Okay, am I $50 away? Okay, I got $50 I can play with. If I'm up $600, I got $400 I can play with now. I base it off of the amount of capital I've made from my beginning session, and then I start to risk on from there. Because, I can't risk on more, because then you're going to dig the hole deeper. The more bad trades you take, the further in the hole you're going to get. And that's where the leveraging part, and it's the base hits. You capture, take 3 MNQ cons, you capture 50, it's the $75 per execution, and you could start knocking out, $200 of drawdown fairly quickly.
Yeah, right. Keep it reasonable, and then it doesn't have to be a big stressful thing that throws you off your game and your ability to stay steady.
And General's
200. So
gotten
you're
a whole
keeping
lot
it
better.
reasonable.
General's gotten a whole lot better. I think, sometimes it just gets the best of all of us. I've done it myself. I've made mistakes, and, you know, ended up burning myself because, I didn't follow my rules.
Yeah, literally, like that's the reason we all can speak to this is because we know exactly what it feels like and we have been there and played with that fire. And it's like, you get burned so many times, and we all are on our own trajectory of when we learn what lesson and how we deal with it and how we choose to like adjust and trade. And we don't have to be, copies of each other. We can each have our own little energy with it and what our levels are comfortable with, what our max daily loss is, and how we're going to respond to that. But as long as you are aware of what you're doing and what works with your accounts and your psychology, then to each their own. Just we're learning on our own journeys on this.
Yeah, that's the intimate part of trading. A friend of mine
Mhm.
said it. Apple always tells me it's like making your suit of armor. You're melting the metal, you're forming it, you're shaping it to what suits you. Because you either need it thicker because you're going heavier in, or you don't need it as heavy of armor because you're going in with lighter contracts. It's the same thing. It's just like that. It's very unique to all of us, but it's because we all have a different pain threshold, and that's because the dollar has a different value to all of us. A dollar stretches a different amount for every single person that's listening right now. I have a family of five. So a dollar for me doesn't stretch as far as, say, someone like, I don't know who else would be here without kids, maybe like Blasky. Yeah, like Blasky. I don't think he has kids. The dollar can go further for someone like that. So there's a very difference in value of how you're able to emotionally manage the trade. Like me, I have to be more strict. I have to be more disciplined because at the end of the day, this is a source of my revenue, of how I put food on the table for my family. So that dollar is very, very significant. It has an astronomical amount of value. I cannot just let it go, because to let it go means that, where do I get it from? I got to pull the money to replenish the dollar I lost from my physical bank, from work that I'm doing maybe here or other things. It's no
Yeah.
longer coming from the money that's inside my war chest.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to think about what it means for your life and how you're going to manage it, because we all, I think, are all still here showing up like we are intraday right now as a team, because trading is a big deal. Like, it has the means to change lives, and to each of us that is slightly different, but to each of us it is a big deal. And so how we choose to manage that as a business is something to pay close attention to and always refine and make stronger. That way we can have longevity in this game. I agree. Very well said.
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right. This is your business. How are you running your business? Are you showing up early to open shop? Are you cleaning the store out? Are you doing your inventory? It relates to trading directly. You're doing your inventory, that's your journaling. You're looking over your sales, your profit and loss, just like trading. You're running your own business, and how can you be a great business owner if you're not adhering to strict rules to ensure longevity, that you're able to keep those doors open?
Ooh, these bears are trying. Show up early, give money away. You show up early and, you know, shoot your shot at the best trade you can find. And that's the game, right? Some days we give money away. Some days we take money.
Look at us, General. Like 2 days ago, I was complaining about my trades, right? But the bottom line on my trades was poor risk management, right? I know what my problem is. I know I didn't manage those positions properly, and I ended up losing on them. But that's just part of the process. At the end of the day, I made some money, you know, it's kind of carried through into the week. But it's just one of those things. It's a never-ending process, and unfortunately, it feels like you're gonna be like me. I'm my own worst critic. If it wasn't for like, if it wasn't for the community here, I wouldn't be as happy. I wouldn't feel that sense of accomplishment. Or even like when I used to hang out with our old trading buddies, Jay Wiz and everybody else. That's what would help kind of keep me motivated. The money is great, but then you run into those downturns, that week, those 2 weeks that are red, and you need that support system. And that's why we're here with you, brother.
Yeah, I think we all go through the ebb and flow of it. I mean, and I think a lot of things, factors play into it. There's different things can be happening in our lives, and health and sleep and geopolitically. There's so many factors that will influence our trading. So just as long as you can hold steady and, like you said, surround yourself with people who get it and support you in the right kinds of ways. That's the way we can kind of hold through all the different energy with it. Yeah, Coach Breezy, only 1 to 2% survive in this game is very true. And especially in day trading, there's a lot more, I don't know, cushion, but there's a different energy to investing and swing trading, because there's just a different risk to that. But day trading is fast. Like it's very fast that you can earn money, and even faster that you can lose money. And so that has, I think, the highest burnout rate. And so, when you make it through your first year, like that's a big deal. And so you're doing something right. And so lean into what you're doing right. And then for me, if I know what is holding me back, what is causing my hardest days, and I target like what can I specifically do to deal with what is causing me the biggest negative outcomes, then you can strive for that like 1% better every week, because you're targeting your biggest like issue, I guess you could say. And so that is one way to help kind of push through fine tuning it too.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. Having, trade buddies that can help hold you accountable and help point out maybe flaws that you may not be looking to. Because, we all get tilted by the market. We all have, like, Becky said, we all have a desire to change our lives. That's what we're all here for. We're all here for that same goal, is to change our lives, change our family's life, financial freedom, not have to worry about money again. It's the same common goal. We're just doing it by our own methods.
Right. Completely. Yeah, each trader has to make it their own, because we're all different people. We come to trading at different points in our lives, different points of maturity, different points, whether you have children or not. It is a factor in psychologically. And so, learning what other people doing, and then finding what you like, what you don't like, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and then making your own, I think, is the most helpful for making it last, because I do believe that it has to work with who you are and how you're able to tolerate risk, and how you're able to tolerate drawdown. Like the ability to be long in this game matters when you make it fit who you are and what you can stomach, I guess, day to day.
Definitely.
Good job, Elise.
Yeah, I definitely like the static as well. That's what I'm trading in right now. 200K static. I'm getting a little bit of a juice here, General. Getting a little
Yeah,
juicy.
yeah.
Can we get that continuation though? Yeah, but yeah, Breezy, and you mentioning that 1 to 2%. You know, there's only so many times that you can put money in the machine before you give up and you just turn away and walk away, and that's really what it is. Those gamblers come in thinking they can do that. That's one reason why I'm not really big on the predictive markets. I don't like the predictive markets. I think that brings a lot of gambling into the market. On a good note, they don't affect the market, right? So, they are non-participants in our market. They're only observers. So I think that that's very interesting. But nonetheless, I don't like that aspect. But I think if you're looking for a gamble, that's probably your best case if you're looking for something easy like that. We ought to talk to the guys at Blue Sky. We ought to bring some predictive markets into our segments. That would be cool. I bet you Steve could do that.
I mean, there's so much out there in the world of trading. And what I love about Blue Sky is like being on the inside a little bit, is they are constantly working on the back end to bring so many opportunities and like improvements and opportunities for traders, different options for what you like to trade, how you like to trade, different accounts, opportunities. And then like the back end, like the dashboard upgrade has been, I mean, it took a minute to get it all situated, but it's so cool. There's so much potential in there, so many things that you can see. It's like basically a trading journaling program within that dashboard is what I love. Like I've done TradeZella in the past, and like almost all of the same information that TradeZella computes is now in our dashboard. Like it's so like I love that about Blue Skies, that they're constantly open to improvements and bringing more resources to the traders. Like it's really cool to be a part of a platform that's really growing and developing in awesome ways.
Hmm.
Man, they are taking the bid off that level. Was that the third time we hit that 24,900 today? And it bulls are defending that fiercely. ES2 had a nice bounce. It seems really like we're just having an inside small body day now. Like the farther we get on, I was hoping this last one would break down and we could get some expansion on the day, but gosh, now we only have an hour and a half left of New York session, and She's pushing back inward, which is a sign of a tight sideways consolidating day on my read. I mean, technically for power hour, we could be setting up for another leg, but the way that we just tried for the third time for the bears and the bulls just are shoving it right back in. Doesn't seem like it. We're just shy of 70 points for today's range on ES. I guess it's not tiny, but it's not as big as we have been seeing. I mean, 69 points is not it's a smaller day compared to what we have been seeing for the average daily range for ES recently. And NQ2 is on the smaller daily range as well. And we popped back inside yesterday's range too on both. That kind of day.
It's been
I love that you brought up that trader checklist, Coach Breezy. Like that it's such a good tip to help you like stay grounded and make sure you're following your rules. And like when you create a trading playbook on what your trading strategies are, what looks like to get in and how you manage that, having that written down helps me stay grounded too on like, am I seeing this? Does it support this? Am I calm and present? And so then I execute in this manner. It's really grounding. It's such a great point to bring up. What turn you profitable? Yeah. It's a game changer for me too when I really actually started to write things down, because then I think when you write things down, it makes it more real. It makes it concrete. It puts like parameters on what you have studied and seen and witnessed that makes you have your best trading outcomes. And then if you follow that, you'll notice that your outcomes are getting more consistent, not necessarily green every time because that's not normal or reasonable, but consistent and measured and within a system that makes sense. And so you're not having as much like, well, let's just see what happens trades. And those ones are the ones that get you into trouble more often than not. But if you trade your designed system that you understand and you're following a checklist to get in and out of it, it is more stable and will keep you on less of a roller coaster ride with trading outcomes. And I love that point. Be very interesting to see if the bulls can take back a higher high here within the intraday action on the 5 here.
And we're just grinding along the 9 EMA on the 15-second time frame. Got above the Friday gap and has been holding. Little pullbacks on the 26, nothing really major.
Yeah, I mean, if we could break the 24,984 of the high that was, gosh, an hour ago now, that would be a sign that we really are just gonna push higher for end of day.
We need to get above the 200 on the 30-second. The lower time frames we're catching up. That's what it is. Yeah, in the 1 minute, you're already there.
One on that last attempt to push down, it was a higher low. It did not break the low there. Or your crying faces.
If we take it out, somebody's gonna be crying. Somebody's gonna be crying.
Bears failed. Hmm.
See, I miss my old chart because my old chart, I used to have Coach Man on here. I had a little picture of Coach Man on there.
Yes. That's amazing.
So that's why I love trading
Make it
views.
speak
You
to
can do all
you.
that stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. I really like how Mike puts on his line in the morning. If you guys come in the morning when Mike trades, he puts his bear bull line, he calls it. I love that. I've never heard it called that before him, but I call it my line in the sand. For my trading hypothesis in the morning, I will have a line in the sand, but basically, like, how are we respecting that level? And it's based on like value areas and previous days value and important levels that the market has respected previously. I will draw that level, and then if we're holding consistently above it, it's a sign for a bullish trade potential, and the same with holding consistently below it, it's the bears. And I love that he calls it the bear bull line, because that's even more obvious than a line in the sand, basically. But it's the same kind of thing, right? It's that he made it speak to him, and I have learned certain terms that I speak to, but like basically, how do you delineate your plan? What levels are you looking at, and what do you look to see at those levels? And it's cool for me to like hear. The more I'm getting deeper into this community, it's nice to hear what other people are looking at, how they talk about it, because it's all similar but slightly personalized.
We frame it in whatever suits us best.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think right here the bears might have another turn here, because this is where the last pressure came from, around this area. We'll see. Bears want another shot or not.
Yeah, the Russell's kind of pulling back some. It's getting rejected, trying to stuff it.
I know.
I see a
can see it
W
both.
though on. I see a W on the 5 and the higher time frames.
Yeah, I agree with the W. We should break the level there, break the neck.
Yeah, we break the neck and we'll get a nice fly upward. Maybe
Yeah.
it don't look like it right now though.
We
The
talk about
Russell's
flying,
really
but the
pulling back.
candles are pretty small.
Yeah, but you look at the
Pretty
Russell. The
small.
Russell's already pulled back more so than the Nas.
Mm,
That's how I'm looking at it in another chart. I'm looking at this guy right here.
mm-hmm.
Small caps will be more sensitive. They'll start leading the way. They'll start to sell.
Yeah. Well, this is the area, right, where we need to see either it's going to push above that level, the high essentially of the W, or not, or if it's going to hold as resistance again. And so far today, resistances have been stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Gold was being bought up the last 45 minutes here as well, and is back in kind of a resistance area. So it's trending very similarly to ES and NQ today. We'll see what she does.
Mm-hmm.
Think we have any expected news tomorrow, right? Oh, just the weekly unemployment labor data, but Friday we have a little bit more. There's a couple different bits of information coming out on Friday for Forex. So we'll see what kind of a finish to the week we get. If today ends a small body inside candle, then none of them are really big news items though. Like weekly labor data and then JOLST on Friday, but those are, not giant headline newses. So I think we might, it's like the market is hesitating, but it could be waiting for that random information about like the geopolitical more so now than it used to be over like the Forex information. So, which is
Yeah, you're
harder
probably
to
gonna.
anticipate.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. We've been talking about that on the podcast for the last 2 weeks. And really focusing on that. The climate of the news and how we're just in a news-driven market right now, more so than the metrics.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like they're there and you have to pay attention and recognize that if you're going to trade when one of those hits, it could be, some wiki action, a little bit more of a volatility for that moment, but nothing compared to what a Trump White House statement might cause randomly.
Yeah. Yep.
Different world. Mhm. Yeah, the bears are giving a go here again as we tested that resistance from an hour ago. So
Yeah, and
hold on.
I got a little volatility signal here. So let's see if we get a wick down.
Yeah, this is a point where
Mm-hmm.
it's their turn again to fight. We definitely said podcast, Justin. There's this one podcast that just started a couple months ago. It's so good. They talk about the market and what to watch for, what they're seeing, what we could potentially anticipate. Questions are asked, answers are given. Sometimes it's helpful. It's good though. It's good. You guys should check it out. Oh, General, sorry, man. It hits this resistance, and the bears are trying, man. In case anyone needs some afternoon enjoyment, there's a podcast that came out on Monday this week.
Becky.
Oh, and if you missed my psychology class yesterday, lab, I got it posted last night, so it's live as well. If anyone missed it, I brought on one of my good friends who is a performance coach internationally. He's from the UK, so kind of a fun conversation yesterday.
That's right, Big
Coach
D.
Reeves,
There's
yeah.
not much volume right now. We're just kind of waiting. We're 15 minutes away from power hour now. So
I think the you versus you is blunt, but it's the truth. Like with trading, like that's who our competition is who we were yesterday. And if we have hard days and hard lessons, can we use those as catalysts to improve our outcomes and our choices and our trade management and then slowly get better? Because that is the most important metric is like, what have we learned and how are we growing and how can we improve and like take this to the next level? The market's going to be the market. Yeah, man, I was wondering what the bears would do, but it's still just slow. See if we can break this 5-minute doji to the downside or back up. When it is in these directional moves, it has been breaking. It has been, one time framing on the 5 when it's doing an up or a down. See, that would be oh, there it just broke up on the 5 on NQ. Poked it anyway. At least if you are holding the longs from this support down here, then it's, not a huge range, so I don't know what your normal risk tolerance is. I know, shush. Shush on the bearish BS, huh? Oh no. I don't know if you guys have ever heard this, but a mentor once told me, if you can zoom out and kind of sit back from your desk a little bit and put on like not the smallest time frame, but like a reasonable, slightly bigger time frame. I use the 15-minute, and I just look at it after like most of the day has printed, as like right now would be, and see who is most in charge. Which candles are the largest? Are they bullish or are they bearish? Because then that can show you where the more of the aggression is on the day so far. And for me, looking at the 15-minute for today, I mean, I see the bigger candles are the bears. And so the bulls have had their time where they have pushed, they have caused wicks, but the engulfing candles predominantly are bearish. And so that is going to give me a bearish sentiment in the end of the day, because it's kind of a one factor on my trade analysis of who is a stronger force in the session that we're currently trading. And so that's something that I like to keep in the back of my mind of when we see the bigger flushing candles. They have been to the downside so far today. Not to say there hasn't been trades in both direction, but to bear that in mind as within each push up that you might see that aggression come back, since that's what it's been doing so far today. And that, only holds until it doesn't hold anymore, right? Like, you have to stay flexible with the market, but that helps me to kind of, I guess, zoom out essentially on what market I'm trading right now. So I don't know if anyone has ever thought about that way, but I like thinking about the market that way, especially towards the end of the day, as I'm considering my end of day trades.
That's nice. I like that. I'll have to keep that in mind, when I do my
Yeah.
end of day trades and stuff.
Tends to be more reliable than not, but nothing is foolproof at all, but
Yeah.
helps. And then also, sometimes there's the whole idea of like we'll get a reversal at the end of the day too. So then that kind of goes against that plan. So you have to fit it with the context of the day. But on a day like today, it gives me a slightly bearish bias still. Not that I said
Yeah,
that
but
out
you
loud, Jen.
but if we get that continued sell into the close, you won't see that bounce until like the last 15.
Right. hmm With the profit locking in.
Shorts covering towards the end of the session. 10 minutes to power hour.
hmm A little bit left of today's trading session. Oh, here's some bulls. Here's some bulls.
Yeah. We'll just step in and rip this thing up.
Yeah. Strength. And
I
bears
know,
tried 3
General.
times to break lower and they couldn't do it.
No, I just got stopped out on that. Tell me about it, General.
So sideways. Let's go. Show us something cool.
Hmm. Something. Dang. Okay. Bulls are still
Right?
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
But is this a fake out?
I don't know. Such a dogfight sideways right here. It's price action is obnoxious. If we can actually clear that 24,984, I think there's a lot of stops sitting in that wick from last hour. We're in it now,
Mhm.
so I'm very curious if we can blast up, then that's a move.
I'm
Oh, here we
trying.
go. Yeah.
Catching a bit on the Russell too. On the 1 minute, you're above the 200 here on NAS.
Yes, is there a little bit sooner? It's like right at that breaking up 74 and a half.
The Russell's at a supply zone right here. It's got a breakthrough at 25,537.
Mm-hmm.
Throw a little bit on here. See if I can catch a ride on the pullback.
Yeah. Some good energy right now trying.
Mm-hmm. Let's see if I
With
get a
an hour
wick
left, we've got
down.
time for it. Yeah, we've got time
Yeah,
for the move.
yeah. Plenty of time in the day. We could see a nice close, if the market wants to go. Let's take a look at the
Mm-hmm.
heat map. Fairly neutral. Not as much red as there was earlier. It's like Meta still down, Google down, Amazon still down slightly. Nothing major though.
Mm-hmm.
I scooped up a con at 24,957.
Now we need to break it. Let's go. Yes, double topped on that level from an hour ago and saw some bearish reaction there. So the dogfight continues.
Yeah. Yes, it does.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go again. Well, just picked up a second con there. Got filled at 24,951. I'm gonna raise my stops up a little just in case. I don't want to get below the 200. If we get below the 200, I'm pretty sure we'll start to fail.
Mm-hmm. I feel like the Bulls have been trying for a while, so they really need to like push it. If they got some strength here, like, let's go.
Don't have any good news. That's the problem. See, when I think about the movement of the market, that's what I start looking for, is a narrative to send the market in a direction. And if there's no narrative, then the only last thing to do is to consolidate and be in a range.
Well, I
So,
think it's a different world now because of exactly what you just said, because we have seen when news hits, we get these outsized moves. And so now, like a normal, like non-news moment doesn't move like it used to more traditionally move. Like it almost is just a hesitating consolidation, even more significantly tightly, because we know that at any point the shoe could drop, and so there will be a move. And so then we get this small body BS here, like we're seeing.
yep.
Sorry.
No,
Went off
you're
there.
good.
But I was in agreement.
No, that's what we're all here for. We're all throwing in our 2 cents into this hat, sharing, what tips and how we find things, and how we find our little edge, and that's what it is. Coach Matt, lit me up to different news. I think he was a 200 guy. He got me to really start using it, and it's just like that. That's the cool thing about us all being able to be here every day. It'll be nice when there's more traders with us in the throughout the session.
Yeah, right. More people to ping it around with, like how we're reading it and what we're looking at. Yeah, exactly, Coach Matt. All on the same team. Come on, break the level. They trying again.
Shit. Welcome to Power Hour, team. Good luck to you, traders. No.
Tomorrow. We're friendly here. We're friendly.
More people to bully. Oh, that's Steve. Steve does all the bullying here.
Bowling is only when the stop hunter is active. That's Steve. Kidding, Steve. Love you, brother.
Oftentimes in those days, we're throwing around good wins, comparing big P&Ls. That's fun. That's fun teasing. This chopped salad is less cute.
Yeah, terrible. Chop suey.
Mm-hmm. Reels.
Yeah, the pricing today has been kind of disgusting, to be honest.
Yeah, right? This is not cute.
Yeah, up, down, up, down, up, down, no movement. Like, okay.
Yeah. Well,
Like
even
I
in the
see the
range.
short,
Mhm.
but there's wicks underneath that don't get any expansion so far.
Right. I kept thinking the bears were gonna push down for one more leg all day. I've been waiting for it to push down into that fair value gap and like fill out a little bit more to the downside, and it just keeps bouncing for hours
Well,
now.
and honestly, the Becky and Riz, the daily chart strongly suggests a test against the 200-day moving average too. Like it
Yeah.
strongly suggests that. And so on the daily chart, the edge is to the downside. You got a confirmation
Right.
pivot yesterday against the 9 EMA. This should test 6,700 over time, but like it's the bears. They don't take it.
Yeah.
Maybe they're a little spooked off of 2 days ago rally.
Oh no. Oh,
All that
see, you
took it.
bullied them, Matt. You bullied
Yeah.
them. Look at
Just calling them cowardly and can't carry
that. Yeah. You're weak.
You weak bears. Come on.
Let's go. What's up, Breezy?
What's going on, beautiful people? What's going on, team?
What's up, Breezy? Good to see you.
Another day, same range.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
We are here.
Pull up the 1 minute chart and somebody tell me what they could do with that. like wow.
Well, that's why
So I mentioned this last night in my stream. Anything around the 25K mark, which we are still within this range, I do not expect to be smooth. What happened today is the exact expectation I had coming into today. And that 25K Q, I'm okay with rejections in that range to be able to have a downside opportunity entry. But like when you look at the range that it produces, we're just chopping. That's all it is. And I knew the longer we hang out around that area, the more pain we're going to feel. And this is something I mentioned last week with Coach Matt, is like the opportunity to start using other resources to generate income has to be considered in this range. Just my 2 cents. I think we're in for a little bit of pain. and 25,200 on NQ, very critical level. It rejected it today, basically. So I don't have a positive outlook for either direction in the market.
Yeah, I think the way it's just like bracketing on top of each other. Sorry, Matt.
Oh no, you're fine. You go first.
Yeah, I just agree. I feel like my read is to the downside based on how we're pushing and then we're having little pull-ups, but we keep breaking lows. However, there is so much dancing. It really is not a clean move on these time frames. And so it like in for pain feels appropriate.
Yeah, I definitely think more downward pressure here, but I also have the ES as a shallow A in the ABC cycle, which means I don't think we're seeing the beginnings of an ultimate bear market here. And I think that's very, very early in the conversation as well. Downward pain for me, like I don't know how much I agree with that, honestly. I'm very interested to see how 6,700 holds against the 200-day moving average.
Yeah.
6,600 is a double wick bottom. That's also a massively important support level. And when everybody's saying, why aren't the bears pushing it? Why aren't the bears pushing it? Doesn't it, in the back of your mind, have to wonder why the bears can't push it here? Why can't the bears get going here? It's because the market doesn't want to sell. Market is hedged up to the moon right now. Any positive catalyst will see those hedges get absolutely blasted, and we're back up at 6,900 in a heartbeat. So, like, to me, I definitely see more downward pressure. I definitely see the daily chart and the weekly chart rolling over, but we're coming into some really, really, really important support levels around the 200-day moving average on the ES, $6,600 on the ES. Those things hold, you're going to start talking about double bottoms in against the short-term downtrend. So, like, yeah, I definitely agree that the bears have the control of the daily chart. I wouldn't say anybody has control of the intraday chart right now, but I would say they have control of the daily chart right now. The weekly chart is constantly rolling over. I would absolutely expect more downward pressure on price here. The question is how much. In the first leg down, it was a shallow move to the downside. In comparison, guys, when you're talking about the starting point of an ABC cycle in the ES, if we're seeing something significant to the downside, 600 points is kind of the expectation. This was 300 points. When you go look at some of the more conservative, typical market corrections, those usually first legs usually go about 250 to 300 points. So, like, yeah, we're seeing chop, and it's frustrating to day traders, and we're seeing rollovers, which is frustrating to investors. How much more does this market have down? Like, I think it's an open question. I really do. I got A is shallow, and I got the 200-day moving average literally 60 points away from the current price. I'm very open-minded to seeing how the market behaves at support here. I fully expect support to get hit, but I am very open-minded to patterns that develop around the 200-day moving average, and on the snapback down to 6,600 as well.
Yeah, I don't
Becky,
have a
is there
lot
a
of
level?
conviction.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Riz. Like, the price from 2 days ago proves to me that the buyers want to buy and the hedgers want to unleash their hedges, but they have to get confirmation and not just talk. And I think that's what the market is more frustrated with right now than anything is what is the truth of the geopolitical environment right now. They're having a hard time figuring that one out, and so am I.
It's such a good point. That is a massive statement candle of 2 days ago on the daily candle, on the daily chart pattern, and the way that the support level that it hit and wicked off so aggressively, like that is a big important level. And so that's an excellent point to like think about what that candle is saying and the fact that there hasn't been near as much pressure back against it in these last 2 days. It's a great point.
Well, and when you look outside the geopolitical side of the equation, which is obviously creating massive dark clouds right now in the market, creating a tremendous amount of uncertainty. And can we all agree that the number one thing the market hates more than anything is uncertainty? Like, that is the number one thing. Like, negative news, market prices in all the time, moves on. Positive news, market prices in, moves on. Markets don't like uncertainty, and so a lot of the last couple of days is the uncertainty of what we're hearing from the government and what is real in the world of geopolitics right now. And that is becoming a dark cloud on the market that is not allowing the market to punch up because there's too much uncertainty in the market. As that uncertainty, and I've done this song and dance with the market for about 22 years now. And every time we go through this uncertainty, it's the same thing. Chop, complaining, everybody expecting the next, move to be the 30% downward movement in price that kills everybody. And yet support holds firm. It chops, and that we get an alleviation event, and all of a sudden we're back up. You don't have to go too far to understand that, guys. We went through the entire tariff saga last year. Tariff news comes into the market, markets go down, alleviation events push the market back up. So right now we have dark clouds on the geopolitical side. Obviously, the market needs to get that alleviated. And if that gets alleviated, I want to go back to one simple conclusion. The truth of the market is always in earnings. Always in earnings. 100%. Earnings right now are fantastic. Fantastic. Earnings backdrop, macro earnings backdrop is growth narratives out there. You alleviate that, we get an alleviation event, because I don't think this war's, well, at least let me put it like this. I think we're going to declare victory and go home. Like, that's what I think we're going to see. I don't think it's going to be in the next week. I don't think it's going to be in the next 2 weeks, but I think we're going to declare victory and go home. Like, I don't think there's the appetite for something long-term here. And so I think the market just needs an alleviation event. And until we get it, I think we're going to deal with chop.
So one thing, I had a prior student reach out to me today, and he was questioning, like, do you think we see a large pullback in for me to short this market? And my answer was absolutely not, because there's three variables when you come to this scenario or situation. You have the technical side, you have the macro side, you have the financial side. financially, things are okay, is what I'll say. You just mentioned earnings, all
Earnings,
the
grade,
variables,
economics,
price.
medium. I would put that as okay. I would agree
There's
with
some
that.
concerns with the job market, but there's been
Very
those
much so.
concerns since COVID, right? From a geopolitical perspective, you have so many different drivers to price, right? It's not just Iran and the US war. That's the hot press. That's the thing that drove price down momentarily. But you have so many compounded macro things that have yet to produce even an 8% correction in the overall market. We're only down 3% for the year.
Yeah.
So this isn't a opportunity to short the market, in my personal opinion, and the advice I guided him to. This is your opportunity to where like you can eye these companies like Microsoft had a 15% pullback in earnings. This is going to be your time to select individual stocks that you can kind of balance into, in my opinion.
I agree with that.
Your macro alignment, if it wanted to, it would have already happened because you have so much built up compression in this market. News is going to be the catalyst to push it out of that compression state. We've had enough news to do that. We've had enough.
Well, and Breezy, can I just jump in on this one point? Because that's such a wonderful point you just made. We've had the news to do it. And when that news came out, you were also already rolling over, which gave the technical side and the bear side a big time edge. And they pushed that big time edge like down 100 points. Like that's it. The bears got everything and they could only drive it down to support on like the macro side.
Yeah.
That's not a bear move in my opinion.
And one thing I was telling them from the technical side, when you look at, and this is something I mentioned in the power hour that we've all kind of reiterated today, when you have that large move that was bought up over the tweet and the hopefulness of positive data, positive news in the market, you have to be observant of that. And I'm not saying we're going to have a bullish immediate breakout, right? But one thing that's super certain is that we went from a structural break perspective right back to the median, right back to the uncertainty in the market. That's currently where the market wants to be at. If it wanted to break down, we've had enough things to do so. If it wanted to break out, we've already had that kind of opportunity to at least poke above the range, which we've done in the prior two sessions. Today's session, we poked above it. Yesterday, we almost broke out of it, right? Yesterday, pure indecision candle. It kind of solidifies this range where the market wants to be in. It's not going to take much to actually peek its head over there. And when it does, I think that run is going to be very aggressive. I think it's going to be fueled with people still trying to short the move that happened. I think it's going to get ugly for people who aren't taking a wider step back to kind of analyze. You have the technical side that's saying, for now, the bottom is in. You have the financial side supporting it to say, yeah, things really aren't that bad, especially when you isolate these companies as a whole. And then the third variable is we've had enough macro events to push us down, 10%. In my opinion, the market had an opportunity, but every single opportunity is met with a buy-side opportunity to put us right back into a balanced state. And it's frustrating. I've been talking to people recently who are just getting cooked to death right now because you're expecting more of a directional bias with everything going on. There doesn't always need to be a directional bias. And if you take an even further step back and look from a weekly or daily perspective, it is not going to take much to create an all-time high. And what happens before all-time highs is extreme accumulation. And that's, to me, when I observe the market, that's the environment that we're in. We're in that accumulation phase, which is
Choppy, frustrating, concerning. It always is.
Yeah, but we need to take advantage of it as well.
We're one positive catalyst away from talking about an all-time high breakout. in the market.
Yeah.
We need to have context when we're having this conversation.
And he asked me, he was like, well, what type of event do you think it would take to produce that structural break? And I couldn't give him an answer. I don't think there's an isolated event. We've already had oil disruptions that was met with a swift rebalance. And so I don't know. I mean, any form of more harsh news or harsh environment, you kind of got to stop thinking about the market too much and start thinking about like real world impacts, because it would probably take something that severe to give us, to me, a correction. If I'm going to say a conservative expected bullish return is 8%, I don't think you get into the corrective conversation until that percentile is at least met. So I don't know what it would take, and I couldn't give him an answer.
Like I'm navigating it through the ABC cycle, as I always do once short-term trends get confirmed against longer-term uptrends. But like I wouldn't officially define it a correction unless we breach 6,600, honestly.
I think the key with all of this is that there's multiple factors that can come out at any point. I mean, like you guys have said, I mean, the fundamentals are grossly unchanged and have been kind of static and holding, and our country is on, reliable enough with the companies that are behind these futures instruments and their fundamentals and their earnings. But knowing that there's a catalyst that could come any point, like stay patient, like define your levels, set alerts, watch for breakouts, and just like slow your roll. If we're still having these tight days and we're still having a dog fight, expect those sort of results, like base hit kind of situation, and then just be patient. And predicting puts you in a situation where you can get upside down, taking like potentially options risks where there isn't the volatility for that, and you're just going to get eaten alive waiting for the breakout. But if we just more so know that something could happen and to be careful and trade the market that we're in until it shifts and it shows us what catalyst it is, if it even, like what's going to make it move, who knows? Like we could predict till the cows come home, and that's what gets the media, right? Is everyone's saying we're in the biggest bear market of our lives and strap in. But if you just tune out all that crap and set your alerts at your key levels and be patient, like I think the market will reveal itself, and the energy behind it, I think, will reveal it too. But it's hard when we're like stuck in these days and we're traders. We want to trade every day. Like I agree. Like I want to see
like the S&P 500 is down 20% off the highs, and we're in the biggest bear market in the history of mankind. Like it's insane to me, the lack of context that our society has these conversations in.
And people eat it up.
Oh, they love it.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'll click on that stuff too, so I get it. I understand why they do it.
Yeah.
But to me, before we have that conversation, don't you have to like at least get a confirmation candle on the daily chart that signifies that this is a resistance level? Like
exactly. Like watch your levels, like let there be catalysts.
Yeah.
And some of them you would think will cause a big move and they don't. And some you think maybe don't, but they are the start of the big move. But like just watch and be present, I think, is like the most reliable.
But you just said something that I think is very important as well. A lot of people, when we look at the geopolitical environment, it screams concern and uncertainty. Yeah. And understandably so. Of course, there's a lot of uncertainty from a geopolitical perspective right now. And I highly doubt the market's going to find an edge one way or the other until we get resolution there. But you said something. You said, when you see things in the market that you think are going to be a catalyst. Well, what if they're not catalysts, though? Like, what if you're expecting something like, oh my God, we went to war with Iran and dropping bombs and they're targeting energy infrastructure and, oh my goodness, the big bear's here. And what if it doesn't show? Like, shouldn't that tell you something too? That the market has the ability to sustain a punch?
Just hold. Yeah.
To hold support?
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
When you're talking about the market and ultimately bear markets, bull markets, corrections, volatility, when you're talking about the market from that perspective, like there's a lot of data points that come into the market. Breezy was talking about that. Financial, economic, geopolitical, political, central bank, all of these play a role in the market. Like the one uncertainty right now is the geopolitical situation, which is leading to a little bit of uncertainty in the path of monetary policy. And whether it's geopolitical wars or whether it's inflationary data or something, I'm going to tell you guys right now, anytime we go through a moment where there is uncertainty in the path of monetary policy, we go through chop in the market every single time, whether it's a geopolitical situation, whether it's a political situation, whether it's an economic situation, regardless of situation, anytime the path of monetary policy is not 100% clear for the market, they usually go through a little bit of chop until we do get clarity. And the thing about the path of policy right now, that can't get clarified until one specific thing happens. And that's identifying the length of the military conflict in the Middle East. If you can answer that question, you can answer a hell of a lot of other questions. And the problem for us right now is we can't answer that one question.
Yeah, massive uncertainty there.
Such a massive question. It's the ball game, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a great point.
A lot of macro talk when we deal with chop in the market, guys. Kind of 2 + 2 in content here.
Well, the statistic is right. Like 70% of the time, the market does move sideways. I mean, that's why we all who trades options knows about the iron condor. Like there are moves to be played in the sideways chop, and it's not unheard of for the market to have these rest periods. But it just does feel like a little bit of a forever lately. I feel like it's been sideways for months since the fall, and like I'm sorry, it's spring break right now, so it's like been a minute of this. It feels outsized, I suppose, to that 70%.
You go look at that weekly chart for 5 consecutive months, I'll put you to sleep.
Yes,
Like
exactly.
it honestly felt like it was a 200-point range. Like there was good intraday ranges and there were good intraday trading, but I'll tell you right now, as a swing trader, I've like just solely speaking as a swing trader, I've hated this market recently as a swing trader. It's been grotesque as a swing trader. And you know what? While we're all talking about concern here, today was the first day I did a scan in swing trading where I felt comfortable with actually talking about stocks more than just 1 to 2 days out. So
Yeah.
and that's not at the top of the market, by the way. When we're talking about the market, we're talking about the top areas of the market, the leadership, the top areas of the market. Bottoming formations, when you're looking at 52-week lows and patterns that are developing off of 52-week lows right now, the bottom of the market is a completely different conversation than the top of the market. And so a lot of the conversations we have is about things at the top of the market because the ES, the NQ, top of the market problems, especially when you look at longer term. Go look at IGV. IGV's been in a really good reversal for a while. I did a deep dive scan in all things software application and software infrastructure. There were 10 stocks in very good reversals that you could throw a dart at and say they were good trends and good, or not good trends yet, they're reversals, but they have good patterns right now with good levels to anchor on. I can't do that with any area of the market at the top of the market right now. None, not one, not silver, not gold, none, zero, none. They're all choppy because they all have top of the market problems. Well, start to see a little bit better action off the bottom of the market. Go where the price action is. But that is the first time in probably months I've actually enjoyed a swing trading scan. Like it's been grotesque for months.
You said something that really resonates with what I look at. You said go where the price is. So I'm a big volume profile trader. And I think right now, more so than ever, when you're in these conditions, it is such a good tool to use as a resource. And the reason, like, how do you know when to get in at the opportunity where the volume and the price correlates, right? And I think as a normal trader, that is the toughest thing to learn. And like in this range, there is 3 stacked point of controls. I use the prior week, and I'm going to be interested in like prior 2 to 3 days. They are all in a balanced state. That's probably 30 to 50 points away on NQ. So like, how do I know within this range to take a good trade? Well, let the volume or where the volume is dictate that trade. So for me, I've mentioned expanding into different allocations to make more money and take advantage of it. But from a day trade perspective, I am only trading where the volume is right now. And they are super isolated to like clear nodes that you can take advantage of. So like if you're out there, you're struggling, look into it because it's really going to help guide you from a technical perspective. It's super annoying I complained enough last night. Like, I do not want to be in the zone, but damn it, we're day traders. We got to learn to adapt and find a way to still fish and hunt in this environment. And there's always going to be some opportunity to take advantage of.
Well said, Breezy. Well said.
Yeah, and I really like the point of control. I mean, it does help you like anchor into areas of interest that you can trade away from or towards if we're angling in that direction. It's a powerful tool when we're getting these consolidation points, because if you look at how it's stacking on top of each other, there are certain levels that do speak out, and the more it stacks on top of each other, the more obvious they get, and then hopefully at some point it builds to a bigger breakout as well.
I mean, it's an accumulation phase in volume.
Yeah.
So we're there. We're there one way or the other, whether we want to be there or not.
Yeah.
This chop will pass too.
Always has.
Always will.
And then we'll be like, holy moly, I don't know. So much movement. How do I get in? The risk is so big. Those days will be back anytime.
Yeah, the last 2 days have been kind of a snooze fest a little bit.
Yeah.
No, the end of days haven't been bad. Yesterday we had a nice end of day. You know, we're flat on the session here. Still got 30 minutes left. Something's got to give.
Something does have to give, Riz. You can't stay inside range prolonged, so yeah, especially on the NASDAQ.
So what I put into the chat is the strategy or my edge. I would say it's a definable edge, and like the yellows are point of controls from the weekly, from the daily, and then the red's going to be some value area low, the green's going to be value area high. Like today, it clearly rejected potential breakout and rejected point of control, the stacked point of controls, and now we're hovering around value area low and point of control. So like we're in the accumulation phase. Every time we try to distribute, that volume isn't there to support us.
That's because retail's trying to distribute because they're scared out of their minds right now, and the institutions are waiting for them to distribute so that they can accumulate while everybody's pretending like we're going through the biggest bear market in the history of mankind.
Man, it's almost like you've been trading for 20 years.
I'm sorry. I don't have any other way to be direct in these environments. And
Good.
like
You got some Warren Buffett in
every
you.
time I hear a lot of people talk about it, I'm like, oh, first time, huh?
Yeah. It's interesting though. It's frustrating, but like you can, like I'm long here at the low, not beating my chest, but like I want to target these lows. There's going to be opportunity. You're with the volume to support you. If it does break that volume shelf or the accumulation phase or chop phase, no harm, no foul. But if I'm isolating an area that's shown support, which this area has failed to produce any new low, you know, we have to be limble and take advantage of it, get out there, get exposed when we should be. And what better way to be exposed than targeting known lows? So I'm saying all this to kind of remind myself and reinforce myself to still be exposed in this market. Because last night, when price opened up in this range, my first thought was like, man, I do not want to deal with this crap again, right? So I think there's a big mindset shift that has to happen. We're kind of in this stuck inside range to like more of an we have to take opportunity when it gives itself. So just something to keep in our back pockets. Like the opportunity is going to be there. We just have to be limble enough and comfortable enough to be exposed to it.
It's like an abundance mindset versus, like negativity, which is like recognizing the market that we're in. And so in this situation, what's the option? Like you can scalp from your levels to another level and, maybe not expect like a giant trending day, but it doesn't mean that Miss Market can't provide something, like you can catch, maybe it's a little fish, but it's still a fish and you won't be hungry. I like that, Breezy.
That is a good point.
Yeah.
The last thing I'll say on that is if you don't like a market, you don't have to aggressively trade that market.
Yeah. That is true. That's a very good point as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Go fishing and real fishing.
Like, it is not a bad thing to take some time away for both to get your mind where it needs to be as a trader. We're
Yeah.
cutthroat market assassins. We have to have that mindset. And second thing is to allow the market a little bit of time to breathe and get away from this chop. Like, and
Yeah.
that's not a negative in my opinion.
No, not at all.
But the chop can be extremely frustrating. Don't get me wrong. I've been very frustrated the last 2 days, and I've been very frustrated as a swing trader for the last 5 months.
Yeah.
So, Becky, have I continued to swing trade even though it's not been a great swing trading environment?
I mean, I think you've probably downsized your positions and managed them differently, but you've still been showing up to the markets and learning.
I do far more day trading than swing trading right now.
Yeah.
Far more.
Because
And
the conditions don't
I would
favor that.
rather swing trade. The conditions don't call for swing trading, so don't
Yeah.
go do all your swing trading.
Right. Why put risk on when your setup is not ideal?
My swing trades, I've shifted to cash flow. Covered calls, credit spreads, do more of that right now than I do on the swing trading side of the equation. And when swing trading is terrible, I usually do more cash flow and I do more day trading.
There you
Every
go.
time.
Well
Rinse and
rounded.
repeat.
Yeah. And to what Breezy said, it's like that comes with experience. Not every new trader is going to have all of those hat tricks in their bag of like knowing that this situation leads to this, and so I'm going to pivot to this other strategy that is a little more safe and fits well with this market condition. That's something we all have to evolve into over time, and exposure to groups like this and different mentors.
Yeah, and I didn't have that skill set when I first went through my first bear market in the subprime meltdown. Like I didn't have that skill set.
Right.
And it was difficult. It was a lot more difficult. It was. Being able to lock down a risk graph with covered calls or callers and being able to shift time frames. Well, let me just preach on you one philosophy I have very quickly.
Yeah.
I hate flying with passion. Actually, if I was a pilot, I'd probably enjoy flying, but I absolutely hate flying, have a fear of flying. And when you're and I'm a miler flyer, so I've flown a lot in my life. And every time we go through chop, whether it's 32,000 feet, 36, 40, doesn't matter. I get staring out the window thinking this is the conclusion of my life type scenario. I run it all through my head. It's just terrible. And it's kind of like flying, trading from a time frame perspective. If there's a lot of chop at 36,000 feet, yeah, you can stick in that chop and that plane's going to be fine, but everybody's going to puke and have a volatile condition and everybody's going to hit it. So as a pilot, you can either stay in the chop at 36,000 or you can switch it down and go down to 32,000 and find some clearer error. Well, I see that same thing from a technical perspective. If the daily chart's not getting you what you need to do, go find that time frame that does work for you in terms of consistency and in trending analysis and whatnot. And so when the daily chart, which is an anchor for me on a lot of different things, does what it has been doing, and I'm not even talking about that just recently. The swing trading has been grotesque for months and months, ever since third quarter reporting season in 25. So it's been about 5 months where swing trading has not been fantastic. There's been great trends out there, but in general, it hasn't been a fantastic environment. So you can sit there and try to swing trade against a neutral market, or you can switch your time frames and bring in more cash flow, let theta bleed, switch time frames down, go down to a lower time frame, but you can't stick in the chop. So if the chop is on the daily chart, you got to widen your perspective to the weekly, or you got to shorten your horizon down into the intraday. If the chop's on the 5-minute chart and we can't get consistency anywhere, just let that theta bleed because that's frustrating.
That's such a good analogy. Yeah. Go to where it is smoother and enjoy that instead of beating your head against the wall somewhere that is not the conditions that favor your edge.
I love the daily chart for my swing trading analysis. I love the hourly chart for my execution on swing trading. I love the hourly chart for my day trading trend analysis. I love the 15-minute chart for my pattern development. I love the 5-minute chart for my execution. If my time frames don't give me what I need to switch it up.
There you go.
So
Stick long, Breezy.
Congrats,
Nicely
Breezy.
done. I love support.